pro wrestling fans, and thank you for joining us at the Pro Wrestling LookBack Podcast. I'm Nick, and I'm sitting in here with...
the one and only Don Perignon.
Don Perignon, that's different.
It's me, though. Donovan, you know, Donovan.
I was going to say, you haven't spelt it in a while. Maybe you should spell it out for them like you used to.
Never left, just,
Never left. Always there.
Always there.
Just like the Pro Wrestling LookBack Podcast.
That's it.
We're back.
Strong.
This is the final look back of the SummerSlam series of lookbacks that we've done here. Thanks for coming in and taking a look and a listen to the Pro Wrestling LookBack. Like we said, I'm Nick, and I'm sitting here with Donovan. Just going to be a two-man booth today. We might get Younger in at the end. We don't know. We'll see. It's possible. He might join us for the main event. But before we go into stuff, I'll get you right off the bat this time. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter at PW LookBack. On Facebook as well, Pro Wrestling LookBack, as well as YouTube, Pro Wrestling LookBack. You can send us an email at prowrestlinglookback@gmail.com. And if you want to get the videos on somewhere else other than YouTube, they're all on our website as well, prowrestlinglookback.wordpress.com. How do you want to start this out, Don? Should we give a couple points, or should we get into my show stats?
Yeah, well, I wanted to say a quick thing with this whole blockbuster theme. I don't know if I just bought in as a fan and just enjoying the card overall, but I really did get that feel from it. Do you know what I mean?
Does that have a lot to do with maybe a match between two big stars?
Not just that, though. I mean, the entire thing, it was a good presentation. I really liked it. Even the whole HBK thing that went down, too. It all felt very much like a big movie.
Yeah, you know what? They definitely capitalized on that blockbuster, tagline, I guess, is what you would call it. But it was a good show. I think we should kind of let people know, obviously, if you haven't seen it in the description or the YouTube post or the Instagram post, or Twitter, check it all out on there. But we're doing SummerSlam 2008. Like I said, this is the kind of the last SummerSlam that we're going to be looking back at before we go into Hell in a Cell hype next month. This was a good show altogether. It wasn't very, it was top-heavy, but it wasn't only top-heavy. Mm-hmm. I think the show was pretty spread out, and it had a lot of good stuff. I'm looking forward to breaking this down with you, man.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Should be good. So here we go. August 17th, 2008 was the date. The attendance was 997. So let's give or take 16,000.
Yeah.
This city was in Indianapolis, Indiana. It was a Raw, SmackDown, and ECW event, and the venue was, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, to be completely honest, but the Conseco Fieldhouse. Can't say I've heard of that one, and I wanted to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
More about the fact that it was a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam, and it's kind of in a city. No offense to Indianapolis in any way, but this is kind of not a big city. Whereas I've seen a lot of the LA and New York and.
Are we classified as a big city?
Toronto?
Yeah,
I think so in the wrestling sense. But I don't know. Indianapolis might have more traditional wrestling roots as far as the territories and stuff go back, stuff that I'm not as familiar with. But I just thought it was interesting to see that. I don't know. I can't see them doing SummerSlam nowadays in Indianapolis.
Or here, for that matter. Unfortunately.
No, but I could, because it's not like SummerSlam has gotten to the point where you need 40,000, 50,000 seat arena for SummerSlam. They still do SummerSlam at the Brooklyn Arena for the last 4 years, now being 2018, depending on when you're listening to this. But yeah, I don't know. I think Toronto could still get it, but I just thought it was different that they did. I don't know when it started that they started doing multiple shows, because I know they stuck around with LA for a little while.
Yeah, for
LA
quite some
had
time.
3 or 4 maybe shows in a row, and now New York's had, I think this is the 4th one in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it goes from there. But like I said, the tagline was the biggest blockbuster of the summer, and it definitely kind of worked. I put their kind of movie, and you talked about that already, so it definitely, the theme fit. The song they went with was Ready to Roll by Jet Black Stare. I can't say I'm too familiar with this.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I kind of, for my own personal reasons, I like the song. I'll probably look it up later on.
The song was pretty good. I just, the band and the song didn't, I didn't know it going in.
It wasn't Flow Rider.
No, definitely wasn't Flow Rider. I'm
thankful for that, just for anyone listening.
Yeah, or CeeLo Green. Shout out to some of the other SummerSlam lookbacks. Yeah. But the 21st annual SummerSlam, it was 10 years ago from the SummerSlam that we're approaching now in 2018. And also a side note, it was 10 years after our previous lookback. So I thought it was kind of cool that we are looking back at this one 10 years ago, and then the show we did prior to this, SummerSlam 1998, go check that out on YouTube at PW LookBack, is 10 years before this show.
Yeah, wow.
So we're kind of getting the 10-year jumps in the next 3 Sundays, we will have watched, 30 years of SummerSlam with 10, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But I thought that was pretty cool. And the promo poster was Maria kind of on a water ski. I think they were playing off of kind of an action scene because there was a bit of an explosion in the background.
Okay.
Maybe like a Fast and the Furious type, action movie scene playing with the whole movie theme, really.
Okay.
But
interesting choice.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely fit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did you have anything to bring up before we kind of talk about the show open?
No, I think I pretty much covered it when I was talking about the whole blockbuster thing. I just thought I don't know if I bought in so much. I was into the show. I liked it.
Yeah.
A couple little things that I wasn't a big fan of, but we'll get to that.
No, for sure. I agree with that. Okay, so we'll go into the show open. It was started out with a bit of a trailer. Again, fitting in with the SummerSlam of this SummerSlam, I should say, the theme of the movie. It fit pretty well, and it was just kind of pushing, again, the blockbuster aspect of that.
Yeah.
But after that, they went straight into the Hell in a Cell promo with Edge and Undertaker. I thought this was really cool, not seeing any of this myself. I kind of got out of wrestling, I've talked about many times, late 2007, so this was kind of just after I got out of high school, different stuff going on. I wasn't watching, but Edge was vicious, man, rabid. I did not know. Like, I knew Edge with Cena and stuff, but this was something that I had not seen before.
Real, like, mean streak in him.
Yeah, and they had kind of promos for all the matches as well, but this one stood out to me more than the others. And I got to be honest, I didn't know any of the matches on this show. I didn't know any of the outcomes. Mm-hmm. But after watching the intro that they showed, I was pretty happy, and I was excited to go forward with the rest of the show. I loved the promo vid, basically. It was
me too. Especially, like, they got a little more into it later on, right before the match. But yeah, great stuff with the promo.
Mm-hmm. And so before we go into the next match, 2 things I wanted to bring up. One was the commentators for the show. We had JR and Taz on SmackDown. I thought that was fucking dope. Good. I think that's a sick combo of guys to have. I like seeing Taz there. I don't know. I felt like he left earlier, but I guess not. We looked that up.
Yep.
Excuse me. And we had King and Cole on Raw, as well as Matt Stryker and Todd Grisham on ECW, which we'll go into in a bit. But there wasn't much ECW representation on this show. Yeah. Kind of shows that the ECW thing wasn't really working.
Yeah.
But the only other thing I wanted to talk about before we go into the opener was the set.
Yeah. Yeah.
This, and I know I've said this is my favorite, but this might be my favorite set, man. Like, I love movies, I love blockbuster stuff, and I didn't realize that in 2008 they were still using the different sets for the pay-per-views, because I think we've become too accustomed to what we have in 2018 with, this
same old.
Yeah, same. It's samesies. It's the same fucking shit. And yeah. I get it from like a money-making business perspective, but just changing the colors isn't enough for me. Like, the sets are the same as more or less Raw.
Yeah.
And this set, I don't know, to kind of paint a picture for anybody listening, it looked like a movie theater. So, you had your little balcony where they came out of, and then the help me here, kind of the movie.
Like an old school movie theater type thing. I would say, yeah,
with like the names of the movies, a.k.a. the names of the matches, on the kind of whiteboard with the block letters. And I just thought it worked really good. It kind of looked like you were standing outside of a movie theater, and awesome. the colors worked really well. This wasn't something that I wrote down, but I thought of it just now, and I want to talk about it before we go into the first match. But the ropes were blue at this show.
Oh yeah, they were.
And I didn't, like, I'm being completely honest with anybody who's listening to the recording, but I did not pick up on this until right now when I was thinking about the setting of the show. And yeah, the ropes were blue. What was that about?
Well, I guess the SummerSlam colors were like, the green and blue, so you could maybe, that's how I would look at it as a thing. Not so much. And I mean, I guess we did get a SmackDown main event.
That's true. I don't know. I just feel like in the past they were always black, and then I thought they switched to white, and I didn't know that there was a time in between where they were using blue and or red ropes.
Yeah, I think more so in this time
pay-per-views.
They would do that, a switch.
Whatever was available
I guess. Sometimes you get black, sometimes you get red.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're gonna have to look
a little bit off topic, but I was gonna say, like, I don't know about you. We'll talk about the first match in a minute. I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting in to something else here at the beginning, but I personally like the black ropes. I'm not a big fan of the white that they do now. I don't mind the blue and the red for SmackDown. That makes perfect sense. But when you're going to do a big pay-per-view, I prefer the black over the white. Same time, I understand why they use the white. It's much more visually, appealing and easier to follow, especially for somebody who doesn't watch a lot of wrestling. If you go back and watch some of the older shows, the black ropes sometimes get lost in the crowd.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have a preference as to what I like. I think just depending on what the show is and the venue, and that's kind of what I'm all for. Like certain pay-per-views, you think of certain colors and stuff like that. Like with SummerSlam, I said it's very green and blue.
Yeah. So
I'd
you don't
be
care
okay.
as long as it fits with the whole setting of the show.
Yeah. Or if it's like obviously if it was a single Raw show, I'd be totally fine with a red or black.
Yeah, that
SmackDown
makes
show.
sense to me. It's more I think the fact that it was a dual show and they used blue ropes, but I don't want to get too hung up on the ropes. No pun intended. Maybe we'll go into the first match.
Like Khali, he really got
hung up on the ropes. Yeah, we'll get to that later. I don't know. There's a few points I want to bring up that stand out from the show, but I think we'll mix them in as we go along, and we'll get into the first match with one of your favorite wrestlers and one of your not so favorite wrestlers. Don, let's talk about Jeff Hardy and MVP.
Yeah. Okay, and I have a fun fact for you, which I was going to bring up as we were watching the show, but I'll bring it up now.
Let's bring it up.
So I remember now. It's cool. I like looking back at this one with you because me and you were both totally out of wrestling at this time. Like we were not watching live. I myself was way out of wrestling at this time, but I did go back and watch this show as I got back into wrestling in about like 2012, 2013 because I just wanted to catch up on all the things I had missed. So I watched a ton of pay-per-views from 2007, 8, 9, so on. Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So a lot of this show I remembered, but this match I didn't really remember the outcome. But then this fact hit me because I was on the internet today just searching around, whatever.
Yeah.
And Jeff Hardy's actually, like, he doesn't win at SummerSlam. Like, he's 0-5. Like,
well, you don't want to spoil it here, man. No,
sorry, guys.
I'm just kidding.
Hopefully in 2018 he picks up a win, but I'll just drop that and leave it at that. But yeah, so I forgot who won this, but knowing that fact, I was like, fuck, he's going to lose.
I didn't know that, so I'm happy you brought that up because that's not something that I was aware of as far as him having a shitty SummerSlam record.
Yeah.
But yeah, I obviously, like I said, I had never seen this pay-per-view before, so I didn't really know Jeff Hardy and MVP had much of a feud.
Yeah, neither did I.
Something you pointed out at the beginning was Jeff Hardy's music. I know you're a big fan of the different music here.
Yeah, the song, I believe, Writing on the Wall. It is. I just like this one. It reminds me a lot of Jeff with the world title, like WWE. Jeff in the main event picture.
Which is after this?
Yeah.
Yeah, because at this point he was still relatively new to his comeback, no?
Yes.
Yeah, I like I said, because I didn't watch a lot of Jeff Hardy as a kid because he wasn't around.
Yeah, you weren't watching that whole era too, right?
No, and I missed the 2008 stuff.
Yeah. So, anything earlier you wouldn't have seen either.
Exactly. So I didn't see too much of him when I was young. I did see a lot of MVP. I don't know. I always liked his entrance with the little blow-up gold thing, but that was kind of where it ended for me. I don't know. I was never a big fan of the wrestler, the character. I just liked the entrance.
That's what I was going to ask you. What did you think of him as a wrestler?
I didn't hate him,
but
like he didn't stand out. And seeing, I want to get into it more as we go into the match, but his gear really
I was just going to say that to you because me and you were gear guys.
I felt like he looked chubbier here than he did in 06, 07.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
I feel like he put on some weight because he knew he didn't. It's not like he's,
It's got to show anything.
Yeah, like as long as it doesn't look too bad and, you're, I don't know. I don't want to rag on MVP too much unless that's something we feel like we need to do. The match had a pretty fast start. I was loving Taz on commentary. I'm probably going to talk about this a lot on the show, but I thought Taz's commentary was just well done and kind of always is. I think I mentioned it to you while we were watching that I like that he knows his role.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't, and this isn't a dig at Taz. I love him, and I used to and still try to be a frequent listener of his podcast, but he seems to know his role in the sense that he's not the main guy. He's not here to give you all the little tidbits and facts about every wrestler. He's here to provide, a past in-ring experience.
Yeah.
And provide punchlines and major things that you're seeing on your TV and pointing those out to you.
Yeah, and the way he just comes off, like you brought it up earlier, the way he comes off, just his excitement, and he's very into it. And plus, having that past in-ring experience definitely adds to it. Yeah. And then you got JR, so just a great combo.
Exactly.
I was getting lost. Like, I remember on another show we did, I was talking heavily about the commentary, but this time it just, I don't know, it blended so well.
Yeah, like you can tell that there's different variations of commentary, like Taz and Michael Cole and JR and King or JR and Taz and King and Michael Cole. But I think those are the two you could use because I really don't think if you put King and Taz together, no discredit to them, but I don't think that they're both, they represent the same guy, whereas
True.
JR and Cole also represent the same guy. JR maybe not so much in 2018. I don't know if his style fits what the 2018 commentary demands, but again, Taz's commentary was great, and I don't know. Do you want to talk more about the actual match?
Yeah, let's get to that.
They were saying that this was Jeff Hardy's first match since 2001. That was JR that said that. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
First at SummerSlam.
Yeah, sorry. Did I say first match at all?
Yeah.
I meant first SummerSlam match since 2001, so that was a bit different. I had it written down again that the gear on MVP was not good, but we already talked about that.
Yeah, that point I didn't remember either, so that was kind of cool fact to find out that this was Jeff's first SummerSlam back after being gone for a while. So I was digging that. That was cool. I found it interesting him doing a lot of the arm locks and stuff at the beginning of the match because it's not a typical
Jeff Hardy thing.
But I like that. The fact that he brings that to the table as well.
Yeah. I know we're not, again, big fans of MVP, but how about that belly to belly into the corner? I thought that was pretty good.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job there, and he was doing a lot of submissions, and he was doing the old, ask him.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
It's vicious, and it's pro wrestling at its core. It's not too much flippy shit, and
yeah, no. Well, I'll give credit.
That.
I'll give credit where credit's due, and I thought a lot in his entrance too. He brought a very heel vibe.
Yeah.
And the boos, I noticed right away. Actually, when when his music hit, the fans were just booing right. Like I could hear.
He definitely seemed like he had some things right. I don't remember much of his promos, and I feel like that was always the lower end of his skill.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't watch a lot of MVP's run, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I've seen enough black wrestlers with chains too, so that's kind of where I stand on that.
That's fair. So. Not to get racial, but speaking of black wrestlers, we had Shelton Benjamin
out of nowhere
come in, kind of looking like he was rocking some Ed Hardy gear. What the fuck was that shit, man?
He looked like he came off the fucking Ed Hardy's set. He just did a commercial or something.
And I don't even think they showed his face.
Not at all. Yeah,
we seen him.
They brought it
from
up
behind. He got attacked by Hardy, and then that was it. Hardy rolled in the ring, and what was it? A dive kick? Or no, the drive-by kick.
The drive-by.
The drive-by. Stealing a page out of Roman Reigns' book, maybe a little foreshadowing.
Well, maybe Roman stole a page out of his book.
Hey, maybe Roman stole a few more pages than people thought. But I don't know.
Hey man, that just lets you know where Roman's at. 'Cause I feel like we bring him up on every show we do.
It's because
this has nothing to do with it.
We watched wrestling in 2018. How can you not have something that falls back to Roman Reigns?
That's cool. I'm okay.
Enough Roman Reigns.
I'm okay with you, Roman.
It's 2008. Roman Reigns was probably moving furniture or playing football at this time. We don't need to be talking about him.
But nonetheless, we had that Shelton appearance.
Yeah, the Shelton appearance. I kind of had a question for you. How did you feel about the story of this match? Because I know, like I said, we're not big fans of MVP, and I'm not a huge fan of Jeff Hardy. But how did you feel that the story that they told?
In-ring story?
Not as much the in-ring. I didn't talk about it before, but they showed a flashback to Saturday night's main event and also to SmackDown where kind of MVP kept screwing Jeff Hardy over with the drive-by.
Yeah, true.
I liked that they showed us that because when the finish came of this match, it kind of made sense. Like, oh, wow, he got screwed again.
True. I didn't
the
even
same
think
way.
That, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't a horrible story.
No, not at all.
But yeah.
I didn't actually really think about that until you brought it up. That's a great point.
The fact that they showed that MVP was screwing Jeff Hardy over.
With that move.
The same move, yeah. For him to win that way definitely comes full circle.
And then the distraction too, perfect heel. I always like that. I like when a heel cheats to win because that's what heels should be doing. Mm-hmm. I don't like when a heel gets a clean pin.
For sure, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you remember anything about this feud afterwards?
No, I don't. And I was actually very surprised that this was... I thought at first on paper, knowing about the match, I thought it was going to be for a U.S. title because I remember a lot of MVP with that U.S. title. Like when I think of MVP, I think of the U.S. title.
So do I. But I feel like that was earlier, no?
Yeah. As they mentioned too
06.
throughout the commentary. Yeah.
07. Maybe not 06, but yeah, early 07.
Yeah, so I just imagined it was going to be that kind of match. So it was interesting to see that it was just a regular singles contest with the story being, Jeff Hardy getting screwed a few times by MVP.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a bad start. I thought it was a good way to open up the show.
Show. Again, kind of sticking with our theme that we haven't really planned at the Pro Wrestling Look Back for good openers on all these pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Pretty much every pay-per-view I think we've done has a good opener. I'm
trying
to think
the last
back.
few SummerSlams for sure.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Definitely the SummerSlams. But again, if you haven't checked any of those out, check them out on YouTube at Pro Wrestling LookBack and Instagram and Twitter at PW LookBack. We'll get on to the next match or interview. I think it was more of an interview leading into a match. We had Maria, the diva that was on the cover of the show, or the poster, sorry, interviewing Santino and Beth Phoenix.
funny one here.
Yeah, I loved Santino's line when he said, "This is my new amore."
Well, yeah, because so Maria was his ex.
Oh, in the storyline.
Yeah, in the storyline.
Oh, okay.
They brought that up a little bit. He's like, I've moved on.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Like, was that maybe in 07, or was it really? Because, like I said, this was right when I stopped around this time. So.
Yeah, it was probably
But that sounds familiar.
earlier in the year, maybe late 07, I think.
Okay. But, yeah, they kind of just talked to Santino and Beth about their match coming up later, which I definitely want to get into, talk about lots, because I actually, I really enjoyed that match, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I just had one little quote from Beth saying to Maria, after Santino had walked away, she kind of walked up to Maria and said, "He's all mine."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." Oh, I didn't know that their relationship
that's what
was kind of both ways. I always
Okay.
thought it was more of like a Santino loved her and she dealt with it because maybe it helped her along a little bit and helped her career. But that's clearly not how their storyline gimmick relationship worked.
I think she was also like taking a dig at Maria too, saying like, you know,
You don't have him anymore, I
he's
do.
now with That was cool. Funny little segment.
Definitely. And then there was a little Hell in a Cell hype promo for later. But then right after that, we went right into this match with Santino and Beth. I thought this was a really cool idea, man, and we'll get more talking about it later, maybe in my memorable moments. But I really thought this double title mixed tag women fighting men at the same time match was really cool. And I'm not big on women fighting men. That's not the reason I like the match.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was. I've never seen a match where you have a male wrestler with a title tag teaming with a women wrestler with the title against another male wrestler and a women wrestler, and the winner of the match wins both belts.
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely a first of its kind.
Maybe a first and only.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know if they ever did this again, because I think they should. I mean, they probably won't now because of women and men fighting at the same time.
You know what? Like, it's not that I wasn't a fan of it, but I would like it more. Like, I would totally be up for it if the story
was more serious, less.
Not even less serious,
comedic?
just like more well-rounded, I guess. Like
with the wrestlers.
Yeah, like not like I feel like I didn't really know, or they didn't give me much of a background on anything between Kofi and Santino. The commentary did.
That's very true.
They did mention how Beth Phoenix previously had the women's title and she lost it to Mickey, so like I got that part of it.
And we didn't have much of a promo video going into the match.
Exactly, either. So like I feel like if it was more of a feud where we had, you know, two women who had been feuding and two men who had been feuding, and then they kind of like
join forces to
somehow
fight each
meshed
other.
it all together. I would dig that.
I know what
Like,
you're saying there. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I'd be up for it.
But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was the idea of it.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? If you showed me this match, even before watching it, I like the idea of the two belts on the line. So we'll get into it. Beth, I got to be honest, Beth was looking really good.
Yeah.
She was looking better than I remember her.
I've always been a fan.
How much, before we get into the specifics, there's another question. How much Beth Santino did you see?
Not a lot live. And honestly, thinking back, even watching some of this stuff, not too much, not too much of it. It was just I remember this match. I remember their whole thing, and it was funny you brought up the whole thing of him and her, and how her liking him as well. Because I feel like later on,
that's how it was.
She didn't like him as much, and she was kind of like.
I felt like she must have been using him for something. Not that he can use him as a bodyguard or anything, but there's got to be some kind of benefit, non-sexually, that she had from you know.
I think the ultimate build to this was him doing the whole storyline where he wins the women's title. I think that's what this all eventually led to.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Well,
is that a Mania?
Yep, but that's
maybe not a look-back Mania. We'll see. There was a pretty good backdrop by Beth, and I got to be honest, Mickey was moving significantly better. Not to discredit Mickey in 2018, but that's something I noticed.
Yeah.
Was how much better and quicker she was just moving.
Yeah, no, she was doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kofi too, man.
It's funny you say that because that was the next thing I had written down was Kofi moving well. And I know I brought this up to you, and I know, like you said, you're not a huge fan of stereotypical African-American gimmicks, but or, you know what I mean. But I think this Kofi gimmick was over, no? Especially with the kids?
I think at a certain time they could have pulled the trigger on it and they didn't. And me and you've talked about that off the record a bit.
Of course.
So, yeah, this was still very early in the Kofi. But yeah, no, he was definitely, they looked at him as a babyface. Like, people were totally into him. I'm not taking away from that. But I think when they missed the boat on it, that's when people were just kind of, it got like, enough is enough. And then he obviously recognized that and made changes to his character as well.
For sure. No, I just think, I don't know. At the time, I remember I had like stepbrother type people in my family, and they were big. They were kids at the time, and I kind of got, and they were big into Kofi.
He had the bright colors and
exactly
happy and doing the cool high flying moves, and so he had all the right things that I think a good babyface should have.
Oh, exactly.
And he was in. I wanted to say he was in I thought he was in like great fucking shape.
Looking not more than now.
Yeah.
That wasn't something that I picked up on, and I wish I kind of paid closer attention to it, to be honest. But the match wasn't that long. It went in kind of quick, and I don't know. They had a bit of
it was
male to female wrestling, but not too much. I mean, Beth came in at the end. What?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
35 seconds. Yeah, that was. I thought it was a lot longer. Not to say that I thought it was like 15, but
yeah, not to go too off topic. But what was the length of the opener?
10:21.
So 10:21. We're gonna try and do that more frequently on the look back. We're gonna get Don's numbers.
Yeah, I'll try and keep up.
We're gonna get Don's numbers.
That's it.
Don numbers. Get him giving us all the match times. But yeah, so back into this one. Like I said, Beth came in. Santino had just been tornado DDT'd by Mickey.
Yep.
So that was kind of devastating. And then Beth came in and kind of took advantage of Mickey, turned her around, gave her the
glam slam,
or Glamazon Azoid or whatever the finish, Beth's finish essentially, and that was kind of it. 1, 2, 3, new champion Beth, new champion Santino.
Small thing I noticed, but I got to bring it up because I love this shit.
Of course.
I like how Beth fucking like locked in on the cover, like she hit her finisher. But she crossed her arms. She fucking covered her head. Like she just makes sure.
I know what you mean. Hold the person down.
Shit.
Like you want to win
things,
this shit.
But I love that.
No, that's a good point to bring up, man. I'm really happy you brought that up, to be completely honest. But how about Santino
again was great.
being given the Intercontinental title and not knowing that he won the championship? I thought that might be, I don't know. I don't have it down as memorable moments, but it's certainly a memorable moment, man.
Yeah.
I've always been a big Santino fan, being Italian myself, and he's from Toronto, Mississauga area. So, I don't know.
It was good. Beth Phoenix goes over to him, kind of smacks him a few times, and he finally comes to it, and he's just still kind of stunned, looking around, and the ref gives him the title. He's looking at it, I won. And just like celebrates. So it was good.
Yeah,
he was always funny.
It was funny, man, and it definitely worked. It wasn't. I don't think it was a bad.
Yeah, no,
finish.
Not
I mean, I know.
I brought it up at previous lookbacks. Like these mixed tags at SummerSlam is a thing. It's just been a thing for a long time.
Yeah, I've never noticed it, but I guess it definitely is.
Like I said, it going back to 1998 with Sable and all them.
Yeah, do you think we're gonna get one? Not to get off topic, but this year?
I think so. Yeah.
With Lana Rusev.
Yeah.
That type of Cien Almas. Shout out to the dog out there. Final thoughts on the match and final thoughts on Beth carrying. Santino out on his shoulders.
Oh, that was funny, and it was good. I just thought it spoke to the whole, her being this tough Glamazon character, and him being him.
Back to their relationship a little bit before we move on, but how long did it last? Did I already ask you that, or is it kind of...
I want to say
years?
Probably... Not even. I think this dies down before Mania.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I honestly thought
more
this
in the
was
Rumble
like a
season
longer...
it probably comes to an end.
Okay, because I knew lots about it, even though I had never seen it.
Yeah.
I did know lots about it.
It was definitely a big thing, like, when it happened.
For sure.
Yeah.
Moving on?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Michael Cole and the King were kind of giving us a little bit of a shakedown, talk down, breakdown, whatever you want to call it, of Shawn Michaels and the Chris Jericho situation. I thought this was a really cool segment. Again, shout out to the dogs if you can hear that. But I don't know. Give me your thoughts, because I know you watched more of this era and you watched this pay-per-view back before. I've never really seen this version of Shawn Michaels, but some of the stuff they were showing with Y2J beating up Shawn Michaels at
the Great American Bash, or the Bash, as they probably called it then, in 2000.
Yeah, I don't know. Your thoughts on that stuff?
It was good, man. Like, this feud is definitely known as, I know Jericho's talked about it a ton, as he loved it, the second run that he did with Shawn.
Well, I've heard him talk lots about it, especially the ladder match, which I've yet to watch. But
yeah, and that's later in this feud, which is awesome too. I kind of, when I got back into it, I did definitely pay attention to this.
Armageddon?
No, I think it took place at like a No Mercy.
Okay,
yeah,
that sounds familiar too. That probably would have been my second choice, to be completely honest.
So it was great, man. This story it's definitely up there as like one of those top rivalries in all of wrestling, I think.
Yeah.
As far as the way the story was told about the whole...
I'm sure tonight's events definitely added to that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we had Sean coming down to the ring with his wife. What's her name again? I feel horrible for forgetting.
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay, well, clearly we're not the biggest marks out there because we don't know Shawn Michaels' wife's name.
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, anyway, he came down to the ring with his wife, talking to the crowd with kind of a mic in his hand. He was kind of hinting at retirement, and this was before we finished the rest of this segment. I had a question for you. I know you weren't watching at the time, but were people buying into this? Do you think some people truly thought this was the end of Shawn Michaels, or did they know it was a storyline?
Maybe. I mean, I could see where people would buy in just because of
the injuries.
Yeah, the injuries.
The injuries that stacked up over time.
And then something random, but like he has that crossed eye. Okay, so
is that from that elbow?
No. But I'm just saying that kind of fits in. If the way how I looked at it, at least
for sure.
When I was rewatching it, I was like, that's an interesting way to go about it, because you had Jericho attack the eye, and people. That's kind of a known thing. Like, people kind of talk about it. Sean's like that cross eye. So
yeah.
The fact that might be a thing where he has his sight damaged seriously it's definitely like a...
Well, like I said, I thought it was kind of, because I know now 2018 his eye is clearly not the way it used to be, and he does wear a lot of hats and stuff and try and cover that up as much as he can. But I thought that elbow that they showed from the bash was what caused that. Yeah. But I guess not. But I don't know. I just wanted to know kind of your opinion, if you thought maybe that he was actually retiring or not.
Maybe if I was watching it, like, I might have.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, to be honest.
Yeah.
But so after that, he was talking about the retirement. Y2J came out kind of in a suit, looking fucking great. Like, not in a, you know what I mean? Like, I'd never seen this Jericho live.
Yeah.
Well, not that we're watching it live, but it was so different. You know what I mean? I've seen 2005, 2006, 7 Jericho, or no, he left in 05, so maybe not 6, 7, but 4, 5 Jericho. I've gone back and watched a lot of WCW, and I've seen a lot of, older stuff.
Yeah.
And then obviously I've seen everything from 2015 forward, as far as the list and the New Japan character.
Yeah.
But this is a lot different than all of that.
Yeah,
his hair was different. His suit, the way he walked, he looked mean.
The way
he looked
he talks,
like a
too.
fucking prick, man.
Yeah.
Like, you talk about guys you want to have a beer with. Fuck that. I don't want to have a beer with that guy.
Yeah.
Maybe the list, Jericho, but fuck, he did a good job of portraying an asshole character.
And he influenced others, to come after him, like The Miz and stuff, with this character.
Oh, for
This
sure.
is like just,
for sure.
it was
Guys
huge,
like Miz and that
yeah.
have definitely based parts of their character around that. But he basically came out and he kind of just looked Shawn Michaels right in the face with the microphone and said no. Because Shawn Michaels was basically trying to play off that he had to retire because of all his injuries stacked up, as well as this eye injury.
Yeah.
And Jericho wanted to come out, and I thought this was fucking amazing. He wanted to take credit for ending Shawn Michaels' career. And I don't know, I don't want to get too into it, but I mean, we should get into it. But you know what I mean? I just thought that was fucking awesome. And he needed to earn the right, you know what I mean, to say something like that.
No, for sure.
Your thoughts?
Awesome, man. Like I said, it's the way he talks. He was very slow and, what's the word I'm looking for here? Methodical, exactly. Like, in the way he talks, and you're paying attention because he's not yelling and,
screaming.
He's talking very softly and using some bigger words, too, I noticed.
No, it makes a big difference, man. He played it like he's a smart character.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically he was calling him out and saying, no, if you're retiring, you're saying that you're retiring because of me, because of Chris Jericho, because of your eye, because of what I did to you. And I want your last moment to be looking me in the face and saying, I'm leaving because of you.
And to give all credit, this was great, because I don't look at Sean as the guy on the mic all the time. He's not I wouldn't put him up there, but he's definitely still good, for sure. Can hold his own. And I thought the response here was awesome. I thought, right away, I was like, what else could he have said?
No, as far as what Sean said,
yeah, it was perfect.
After, well, yeah, tell the listeners, because I don't think we've got there yet.
Well, Sean, he responds and basically says, sure, I'll tell them.
I'll tell, because Chris Jericho said, tell your kids.
I'll tell my kids, and but make sure you go home and you tell your wife and tell your kids that you're never gonna be HBK. Like,
Yeah,
it's
what a
just
line.
awesome because it goes back to their first feud and how Jericho looked up to Michaels and emulated him in the way he dressed and
in
his
2001
moves
or
and,
two when they fought at WrestleMania 19.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking fantastic match. Maybe we'll look back at that Mania
For
closer
sure.
to this year's WrestleMania, but yeah. Before we talk about the major part of this segment, playing off of what Shawn Michaels said there, and this might be a controversial.
Oh yeah, I got something to ask you as well. So
or decision or leave it in the comments below or on Instagram and Twitter. But is Shawn Michaels that much better than Y2J?
Well, see, that's what my question for you is going to be: is Jericho the GOAT? Like, is he the GOAT
of all time?
Is he?
I think the GOAT's Ric Flair, in my opinion.
Okay.
That's just my own, there's no one that's better at both.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Flair's better in the ring than Jericho. It's, it's psychology-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to get too deep down that road because, I don't have the full credentials or to say whether or not he is or he isn't. But I just kind of wanted to play because when you read this and you think now, it's kind of like, well, obviously Shawn Michaels is better than Chris Jericho, but is he? He did more for the business, but looking in 2018 eyes, Chris Jericho's still going.
Yeah.
And it's not like he started 20 years after Shawn.
No, for sure, yeah.
He was rocking it.
Well, that's what brought me to that. I was thinking it as I was watching this because I remember this feud. I'm like, you know what?
He's one of.
He's definitely.
I think he's one of the most underrated, if you can say that, because I don't mean underrated in the sense that he doesn't get any credit. I just think he doesn't get talked about as being one of the guys.
Yeah.
As being one of the Mount Rushmore of the WWE and the pro wrestling, industry. I just think that, I don't know, he could be and he should be.
Yeah,
it's what I've said to you. Sorry to cut you off. It's what I've said to you in the past. I think it's because he's still going.
Yeah.
I think people don't know how good Jericho is until his career's over. And then when Jericho retires, people are going to sit back, kick their feet up, and go, holy fuck.
Yeah. Look at the resume.
Look at the resume. They're going to need a fucking 6 DVD set to make this guy a DVD.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Good shit.
Should we get into the main points of this segment?
Yeah, let's get to that.
So we had kind of them going back and forth, as we said. And then Shawn was about to leave. Mm-hmm. And Jericho goes to throw a punch. Shawn ducks, and Jericho fucking cracks the wife.
Yeah.
Sorry, again, we forget your name. Right in the face.
Yeah.
Was it Rebecca?
I don't want to say yes.
I don't want to say yes either. But anyway, this was odd because not only did Jericho actually hit her in the face, which obviously was not planned, and you could see the welt on her lip if you're going to come at us with, this being a work. It obviously was a work, but it doesn't take a smart or a dumb person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can go back and watch
for yourself,
and see. So I don't know. It was kind of a weird atmosphere in the arena afterwards. Jericho had a look on his face like he was still acting, but he wasn't fucking sure.
It was great.
What was going on?
That
Michaels, you could tell, was obviously genuinely upset in some kind of way. I think he was more upset with the fact that his wife was in danger, not at Jericho.
Yeah.
I don't think he was mad at Jericho per se. I think he was more, I'm sorry for putting you in this situation.
Yeah.
Where you could have been hurt, and I told you everything would be okay. So I can understand that aspect of it.
I
hope that dog shuts up.
I know.
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the recording. Hopefully not. But if you can, our apologies.
But yeah, no, damn, crazy stuff, and just it definitely added to the story later on as it progresses and they get into their other matches. But yeah, it's a moment. It's definitely a moment.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, it was definitely by accident, and it was definitely a holy fuck moment.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere in the building was very strange, and I don't know. You could tell that, like I said, Chris Jericho knew that he did something wrong, but he also was concerned about.
And like, so, Grant, not off topic, but like, love it or hate it, man. This is the kind of shit though. Like, this is what makes wrestling. It's this.
Oh, for sure. The what if moments, right?
Yeah, and no, just the story and the whole fucking. It's like a fucking, a male soap opera in a way. Like,
that's exactly what
this,
pro wrestling
right?
is, my friend.
And like this, I thought this in particular. Maybe this is where it crossed my mind, where I was like, yeah, it has that blockbuster. Just everything that happened at this show, it all tied in like a big fucking movie. I liked it.
For sure. And back to go off topic a little bit, back to what you said about it being a soap opera. I had a little discussion with family around the table, and we were talking about, I was explaining that we do a podcast about wrestling and explaining kind of what it is. And my mother had brought up at a dinner that, it was kind of like her version of the music that she's into. And I kind of said, it's kind of different. I would put it more in the category of my grandfather, who watches a lot of soap operas.
Yeah.
And I said, this is kind of like my soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that you said that. I thought that was a cool thing to bring up.
No, for sure.
Yeah. We'll go into the next match.
What was next?
The next match was the only ECW match on the card. It was Matt Hardy versus Mark Henry for the ECW, or should I say the XL ECW Championship.
Why do you call it?
Because that belt was fucking huge, man.
Maybe it was bigger for Mark Henry or something.
No jips to Mark Henry, but I think it was.
He's a big boy.
Because I feel like if Matt had that belt, it would have been from his fucking tits down to his fucking belly button.
No, it wasn't that.
It was huge, man. The thing was massive.
No, you know what? It was just pretty big. Because I'm thinking back to other guys who had it. It was just
overall, it was a big belt. Big belt.
How long was the match, do you think? I want just your guesstimate.
3 minutes.
No. Okay.
Not even?
It was 31 seconds.
Oh, really? Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Like from bell to bell, I get. Well, bell to bell.
Well, Don Numbers.
Yeah.
Giving us the
31 seconds.
Should we not take that name?
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Don
Perignon. Get it right.
Shout out to Wrestling Soup.
Yeah.
But yeah, so ECW Championship, Matt Hardy versus Mark Henry. Like I said, Mark Henry was the World Heavyweight Champion. Hardy's music. That's something to talk about since the match was only 31 seconds. Did you like it? Did you not like it? I know you said that me and Mike had talked about that we liked it in the past.
Because I remember Mike mentioning he liked it.
Yeah, I liked it as well. I think it's just because that's the Hardy, in
Matt
quotes,
Hardy,
I'm doing quotations right now, music that I grew up with.
Yeah. It was a lot of part of my era too, of the whole him with the cruiserweight title and whatnot. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
I got to be honest, coming in, Henry looked vicious and mean. Like, he looked like this character could have been cool. And I didn't watch a lot of House of Pain stuff, Christian.
Hall of Pain, yeah.
House of Pain, I don't know what I was saying. Was that a TV show?
Maybe.
I think that sounds familiar. But anyway, he just looked vicious and mean, and I would have liked to see more of this Mark Henry, because the Mark Henry that I've seen is not... I don't look at him too high, but that's not because of what he's done. I think it's because of what I've seen.
Yeah, no. I mean, I would definitely recommend like Hall of Pain over anything.
Yeah,
Mark Henry, because even
early Mark Henry, like
he just
World's
moved,
Strongest Man.
He just moved better, I thought. Like at that time, like even here, I know we only seen him for fucking 30 seconds, but I remember not exactly ECW Mark Henry, but more of this era. He just wasn't moving that well, I thought. Like
before this.
Yeah, in this even.
Like, in this
era,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I saw him when he first came back, and they made a big deal because he was a guy from the Attitude Era, and I didn't see the Attitude Era stuff.
Yeah.
And by the time I got out of wrestling, he was when he was coming into the Hall of Pain stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't really see that. And that was after this, obviously, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, did you want to talk about the 30-second match?
Yeah, so we had Matt Hardy basically hit the Twist of Fate pretty quick.
Right off the bat,
and
almost.
I thought he was going to win. I thought he was going to win the belt quickly. And then we had Tony Atlas, who was in the corner of Mark Henry.
Shout out to Legends House of WWE Network. That's where I know him from.
Did he pull Matt out and kind of just
I was
gave him a couple
1-2.
shots?
Excuse me, 1-2, and then he yanked Matt's leg.
Yeah.
Pulled him out, and the ref DQ'd him immediately. And then they kind of went to jump on Matt a little bit, but we had your boy.
To save the day, wearing a nice blue jersey, was Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, it was a North Carolina jersey, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where they're from, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, representing.
They gave Mark Henry a nice double suplex on the outside.
I had it written down as well, yeah. Double team, double suplex outside the ring, kind of to the corner, I don't know, to the right of the commentary, I guess.
Yeah, I almost thought...
To the right of the commentators, I would say.
I almost thought like Mark Henry's foot was going to hit the steps, because it seemed pretty close.
Yeah, it was pretty tight, especially be doing a double suplex.
Yeah, on such a big guy.
Overall, though, if you want to call it a match, I would say it was a bad match. I don't know if even the storytelling
Yeah, I don't even know
if
I'd call it a match. Like, I mean, it was obvious, it was a match, but it's nothing...
And I got to be honest, I'm thinking about this now as we're recording.
Yeah.
I would not want to be an ECW guy at this time, because if that's what they were getting, there was one match on the show and it was 30 seconds long. Where's the rest of the roster, and how, upset, quote unquote, are they backstage?
Yeah, I don't know. really what.
Like, do we know who else was on the roster at this time?
Well, so there was
Kurt Angle was gone.
There was a
CM
dark
Punk
match
wasn't on the show
earlier in the night, but no, Chavo. No, because Chavo was on SmackDown. Never mind. Sorry, there was a dark match earlier in the night that wasn't on the show, and I thought
maybe it was an ECW.
Might have been an ECW, but it wasn't.
But yeah, so clearly ECW kind of getting the short end of the stick at this point.
Yeah, that version of ECW wasn't anything to really brag over.
It had potential early on.
For sure it did, yeah.
In 2005 and 6 when they brought back One Night Stand, and then they kind of went in with the roster at the beginning with Kurt and CM Punk and Heyman running it.
Gave them their own pay-per-view. They had like a December to Dismember, I think, later on. And they did like the first ever and only Extreme Elimination Chamber. Like, they had potential.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I may have seen that. I don't know.
Bobby Lashley was in it. And,
yeah.
Punk and Van Dam. There's a lot of good, cool guys in it, and it definitely had potential, but it just didn't really live up. I guess they didn't see it as, a top.
Yeah,
tier.
But it's just to give up on it so quickly is a bit weird in my eyes.
Well, no, you know what's funny is that it had a bit of a run. Like, it was around a lot longer, yeah, than
this. Like, how much longer was it around past 2008?
So when did we say it came in? 2000 what?
I would say 6 because I know the first One Night Stand they did was just a one-off.
Yeah, and it was still going in like 2009.
So that's only a year after this.
Yeah, but to go from like 06 to 09, that's still a...
Yeah, and I guess to go from 30-second match at SummerSlam and still be around for a year after that.
Well, do you want a spoiler alert?
I don't know. Go.
Well, there's just another SummerSlam
Spoilers.
I remember. Yeah, spoiler alert. Another SummerSlam I remember, there was another match from ECW, and I think it was the only match in the card.
Really? Quick, too.
Like this. Like, I'm not kidding you, like this, literally.
That sucks.
That's fucked.
Sucks for ECW, but I guess most people listening to this probably know.
Yeah, they know
the bad,
what's up with that, yeah.
Stuff that happened with ECW, but we'll go on to the next one.
Brighter things ahead on the card.
Yes. Oh, certainly brighter things ahead on the card. That's for sure. The next one was CM Punk and JBL, and they kind of did like a little inside look at CM Punk. And I thought it was going to be more just CM Punk because of the way that they built it.
Yeah,
but then it went right into it basically a JBL CM Punk promo.
It was cool, that promo. I liked the style of it.
Yeah, so this was for the World Heavyweight Championship, and this was a Raw match.
Yeah.
Do you want to get into a little bit before we talk about the match how the World Championship ended up back on Raw?
Yeah, we can touch on that a bit. I know that Punk had won the belt in June or July, I believe. Yeah,
with the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and cashed in still as a
From
babyface.
Edge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was taking advantage of a situation.
So that's how they got the whole belt away from Edge and Undertaker's scenario.
Yeah, and then we had I know Punk had feuded with Batista, not really a one-off, but they had a match previously.
Okay.
And then this is what he did next with JBL. His reign, I know, wasn't that long.
And he was drafted over to Raw?
Was he already a Raw guy? Yeah, he might have just...
Or did he bring the belt over?
He won the briefcase. No, he didn't bring the belt over.
Okay.
Yeah, he was drafted to Raw. But he might have already been on Raw when he won the briefcase. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, no, it's not a major topic. I just thought it was odd because I always remembered the world title being on SmackDown when I had stopped watching it.
Yeah.
And then to see it back over on Raw was different. And to see Triple H with the spinner title on SmackDown, we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was odd. Different for sure. But this story with CM Punk and JBL, I thought that there was a lot that could have been told here.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the idea of these two going at each other. Their styles, for me, seem to mesh well.
Yeah.
I am I don't want to say quote-unquote JBL guy, but I've always liked JBL more because of, I've said it in the past, because of how much I didn't like him as a kid. It makes me understand more about pro wrestling and buy into the fact that I hated this guy.
Yeah.
Similar to, like I said many times, the reason I kind of like Jinder Mahal is if you can get somebody to be genuinely booed, nowadays, it's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
It would be, bad if we didn't talk about CM Punk's music since we opened the show with it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The Kill Switch.
The Kill Switch Engage before he switched over to Cult of
Personality, yeah.
Yeah, so what he uses now in UFC and probably pro wrestling in the future as well. They kind of build it as old school versus new school, which, again, I like that aspect of the story. JBL's style is definitely very old school, and CM Punk's very new school. So, and they kind of were talking about the fact that JBL thought CM Punk wasn't worthy to be holding the World Heavyweight title, and that JBL had put in his dues and been in the wrestling industry long enough that he could be holding that belt.
Yeah, it was an interesting matchup. You got the indie guy.
Yeah,
against the.
Well, Cole was chirping Punk pretty bad on that.
Yeah, what did he say? Sorry,
he kind of mentioned. I don't know. I don't have the specifics, but he said he's a guy that likes to drink soda. He likes Batman movies and
video games.
Video games, and I'm kind of thinking there, Cole. Like, I don't want to point fingers, but I feel like 75% of your audience fits into that category.
Yeah, and I think that was a whole part of a transitional like period in wrestling and
when that was becoming more accepted.
Society in general, you know what I mean? At this time too, like
yeah, no, that's true because pop culture definitely like
changes and
yeah,
like,
of course.
You know, if
nerd culture, I was gonna say wasn't as prominent in 2008 as it is now in 2018.
Yeah. Like if we went back to 1999 and fucking there was a guy like that, like he might be oh you nerd or something. You know,
exactly.
It was looked at differently from that point of view.
Yeah, and this being 10 years ago, we do have to look at it with those eyes.
Yeah,
so. Good point to bring up, man.
But yeah, the match itself, what did you think? Did you like it? The big versus small?
I gotta be honest. My expectations were a lot higher.
Oh, really?
Than what was met.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like it was a lot slower than I expected. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that's because JBL was trying to keep that slow pace on purpose.
Yeah. Because
the commentary did make a note of the fact that JBL's got to keep this in his wheelhouse. He can't let CM Punk fire up and get going too fast. And that made sense. But the match, I don't think we'll get more into it, but I don't think it led up to what I was expecting. It probably wasn't as good as I was hoping it was going to be. But I had another little note, the CM Punk chants.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that kind of they started then and 10 years later we're still getting them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they're not the same. They have a different meaning now than they did back then, but
yeah, he definitely
stands the test of time.
Like had his fan base even in this time because like I guess like I said with the whole it was a very this represents an interesting era of like wrestling in the whole transitional period and stuff because the internet definitely knew who Punk was and I seen a lot of signs in the crowd and shirts for him
too.
And
like I mentioned earlier, this wasn't a major market being Indianapolis, so that was like you said, it's pretty prominent to have those signs and the internet, quote unquote internet fans, IWC as they call them. But I wanted to talk about, there was a fall-away slam that took place earlier in the match that I didn't bring up, and then Michael Cole had brought up the fall-away slam later in the match, and the selling of that, and not the fact, he didn't obviously bring up the selling, but he brought up the fact that Punk might be hurting because of that.
Like that was I thought that was cool. JBL was working the ribs the whole match, and that's where it started, was from that
fall-away slam. Yeah. And the fact, to me, I like the fact that Michael Cole brought that up again to remind people, hey, these moves matter. It's not just moving on to the next one.
What about the classic? I'm gonna name it now from here on out. I'm gonna call it the ROH dive of doom. Kind of the the good old dive, as I had wrote down until you said the ROH dive of doom, and I like that name way better. That's what we're gonna call it here on the Pro Wrestling LookBack from now on, or at least I am.
Well, you know what's crazy to think about, and we should take note of this next week when we watch SummerSlam 2018. How many of those did we see on this show? One? Probably just that one. How many do you think we're going to see next week on SummerSlam? I don't know. 10? 10? Maybe more. Is there going to be one every other match? I wouldn't put it past, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to go down the whole card, but a lot of guys do the dive. Seth's going to do it, and Charlotte might do it, and Sasha Luke Harper might fucking do it. Like, it's fun, so. Yeah, we're not big fans of that. If you're going to do it once in a show like they did at this show, in my opinion. It's not a move it's too big. You keep doing that shit, and then you're keeping the expectations too high for the crowd. But I don't know. How about the clothesline from Hell? Shout out to that move. I love that move from JBL. Yes. But the clothesline from Hell that he did to CM Punk, and they kind of both fell. It was a CM Punk reversal of the clothesline of Hell, and then he kind of did like a lariat-ish type kick, and they both fell, and they cracked heads. Oh, yeah, that was bad. And we even went back and rewound it before they showed the replay because it was, I don't know, it was pretty vicious. Yeah, it busted him open. Yeah. Cracked open Punk's head. Which goes into the finish of the match. Do you think that they kind of got the go home because CM Punk was bleeding so much? Maybe, but when you mentioned that when we were watching it, I thought, you know what, maybe not necessarily because they still went a little bit after that. Yeah, there was a top rope backdrop after that. I don't know if you want to be taking a backdrop with a dash on your head. I felt like there was still a little more that happened after that move. Yeah, well, there was, you back to JBL in the ribs, there was the point where he was kind of
beating on CM Punk in the corner relentlessly.
On the top rope, right?
Yeah, Punk was on the top rope and JBL was on the ground, and he was beating on his back to the point where I even piped up and kind of said, "Hey, ref, like, get in there and do something because, this should be a DQ in the sense of pro wrestling."
Just back to that, though, like, those shots were wicked from JBL. I love that.
Oh, yeah, vicious.
Aggressive style,
Similar
especially coming from a heel, too. Like, perfect.
Here we go. It wouldn't be a Pro Wrestling Look Back without a motorcycle in the background. But, yeah, he was vicious, and we'll talk more about the viciousness when we go into Edge's match later.
Yeah.
Definitely something that stands out from this show. And like I said, I don't know if they were told to go home because of the cut, but it seemed that the match could have had more.
Yeah, so this match only went for 11 minutes and 9 seconds.
I was just going to ask you, did it seem too quick?
No, in watching it, I thought it was a lot longer than this. Like, I thought it was, but I'm weird like that. So.
Yeah, it's hard to judge sometimes. You get sucked into a match and you forget, right? But I know I kind of put that I was disappointed. It was still a good match. I don't want to say it was a bad match. It just maybe didn't meet my expectations being a big JBL fan.
Yeah.
And wanting to see
a question
the mix of JBL and Punk.
Because I remember at the beginning you said you knew JBL doesn't win the world title, so you knew the outcome. Do you think that had anything to do with it? Because you didn't know the outcome of all the other matches, pretty much.
No, right? And you're right. And I did say that, and the only reason I said it was because I know JBL's career enough to know that he never held the big gold belt. Possibly.
Yeah.
But I don't think it had too much to do with it because I wasn't thinking about it a lot during the match.
Yeah.
During the match, they kind of sucked me in, and it might sound dumb, but I can confidently say no.
Yeah, okay.
Because, I felt like during the match, they sucked me in.
Yeah. No, I was just curious if that had anything.
But that might change my opinion of the match. Because if they sucked me in, then clearly I was into the match.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe I just wanted it to be longer.
Okay, yeah.
And I wanted to see more variation.
Yeah.
Of the two of them in their styles.
I didn't mind it, and I think I liked the fact that JBL got most of the offense. Like, Punk had his little bursts throughout the match, but JBL was definitely more in control throughout the match. And I thought for the believability of, like, the size and the story they were trying to tell, too, it made, like, perfect sense, and it went well, I thought.
Perfect. Should we move on?
Well, yeah, but Punk, what about the GTS he hit him with, and kind of a little bit of a pause before he hit the 3. So I think
I'm jumping to conclusions, aren't I?
It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
We were under the impression like maybe he might kick out.
Yeah, well,
I kind of was.
It was. That's what I mean. It came quick.
Yeah. At
the end there, the GTS was, but it wasn't out of nowhere like an RKO.
It was no, yeah.
It was just like, oh, okay, and that's it. The match kind of ended very quickly. But sorry to move on too quick. But
interesting point, and I do not want to dive super deep into the CM Punk topic, but I don't know. I was gonna say it to you while we were watching, but I figured I'd save it. So Punk goes like this. He taps. I know you guys can't see me, but he taps the back of his head where he was busted open, and he looks at the blood in his hand, and he points to the camera, holds up the world title, and he's like, "I'll bleed for this. I'll bleed for this." Like, I was reading his lips saying that. I thought that was kind of a cool moment. It was just interesting.
I wish you would have brought that up during the show because I did not notice that.
Yeah, I noticed it. He said it like twice, and then he got up on the rope, kind of pandered to the crowd, and yeah. But that was a cool little moment in itself, I thought.
Definitely, man. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's there's always Punk's one of those guys that, I mean, when he was around, he was hard not to like.
Yeah.
And he did a lot for the business, and shout out to CM Punk.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see you back in the WWE someday, if not in a pro wrestling ring.
For sure.
But we'll move on.
What do we got next? Oh yeah. Okay. You looked at me like that. I know what's coming up.
WWE Championship, buddy. Triple H, the Game versus the Great Khali.
See, but honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, this is a part of that blockbuster appeal. Not to sound like a fucking cliche WWE guy. No, but I'm just saying,
two more movie
Khali,
stars.
No, just Khali. Looking at him, he's something to look at. Obviously.
Oh, I have lots to say about that. I have it written down.
Being so big, like, if you've seen Khali walking down the street, you're gonna look fucking you're gonna look twice.
Well, you're gonna look more than twice.
Yeah. So you know what I mean?
Look up and down.
Exactly. So, like, I mean, from a visual standpoint, that's what I mean with the blockbuster. I don't mean like two big stars. I mean, like,
well, even
it added to it.
Even to add to that, they are both movie stars in a way. They've both been in movies, so they can play off the whole blockbuster thing there as well.
True. Yeah.
But
I just meant like the whole bigger picture of it. Like when I said about it being like one big movie, this card. I thought this
was a different part of the movie.
Yeah.
No, I know what you
I
mean.
didn't love the match,
and it was nothing like the other matches on the card.
For sure.
So that's good.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. I got to be honest. I wrote before the match started. I wrote in quotations here.
I can't say I'm too excited to see this.
Oh, I said that to you before we started the show, and I realized this was
when we decided that 2008 was going to be the one we looked back at.
I don't know about that one because I've seen this match before, unfortunately, but I have. So.
Yeah, it's okay.
But yeah, it wasn't as bad as I remembered, to tell you the truth.
Before we go into the actual match, the entrance with Triple H, it's no different than any other Triple H entrance, but I just thought that it really worked well with this setting, with the whole movie theme and the way, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but maybe if you guys haven't already looked back at this show and are now listening to us, go back and type in maybe on YouTube and look up Triple H's entrance from 2008 SummerSlam and get a feel for what I'm saying.
Fit in well with the whole backdrop and everything too, right? Yeah.
For sure, man. His entrance just worked. I don't know. And he looked really focused. I don't know if that helped with the fact that it was hard to buy in because it was a Khali match, and no discredit to Khali, but it's a different type of story that you're getting into here, and I like to see the focus. The focused look on Triple H's face was good.
Yeah.
And JR brought up the fact, not to get too quick into it, he brought up the fact 6 wins in a row at SummerSlam.
Nice.
I thought that was a big deal.
It's a big one.
I didn't know that, and I'd like to maybe not obviously live on the show here, but I'd like to go back and maybe just see what those matches were, not necessarily watch them all, because I know I've stated before I'm not the biggest Triple H fan. I don't know if I want to go back and watch 6 consecutive Triple H matches, but yeah. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say I'm glad you brought that up. I could get to it later in the match. What I was going to ask you. But I'll just
Triple H,
I'll just do it now because I got to say, man, okay, and you not being a big Triple H guy, but you got to give the guy credit because he
versatile.
He had to carry this match, and he was selling the whole time basically.
I have it written down that his selling was fantastic.
Bravo, I gotta say,
my dislike of Triple H doesn't come with disrespect.
I didn't want to.
It's more of just a dislike for the character. You know what I mean? And the respect part of it comes back full circle with what I talked about with JBL. Mm-hmm. I fucking hated Triple H when I was a kid because he was a douchebag guy that walked around with the fucking belt, and he took the belt from Randy Orton, the guy that I liked, and you know what I mean? So that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He's definitely doing good stuff. Shout out to him for SummerSlam or for NXT and everything he does there with 205 Live and NXT. But so they said that this was the 17th time that the title had been defended at SummerSlam. I thought that was just a note to bring up again. JR said that.
They didn't say how many times it changed hands, did they?
I think they said 6, but I don't want to. Okay. He said it too quick, and I didn't have a chance to write it down. So if you guys are curious, go ahead and look that up for sure. But I know it was the 17th, confirmed it was the 17th time that the WWE Championship was defended at SummerSlam. So, yeah, I don't know. We can go into it.
Yeah, let's get
fast-paced start. There was kind of a double-handed chokeslam by Khali. Lifted him up and threw him right at the beginning. I think Triple H might have dodged a 1-2 punch, and then he got double chokeslam, you know what I mean. Tossed.
Yeah.
And then the crowd came in really quick with the "You Can't Wrestle" chants.
They couldn't wait for that, eh?
Yeah, I don't blame them, but I don't know. We'll talk more about the booing of certain things later in the show here, but I don't know. Does Khali use anything that isn't his hands, or is it just his hands? Like, is that the gimmick? He squeezes your head. He smacks you, karate chop. Like, he might lift his leg once a match, maybe, for a big boot.
Don't go too far with it. I don't know if he can lift the leg. Jesus. And that's a part of the whole thing of the story in this match of Triple H being able to do the pedigree. Because I think Khali would have a hard time
bending over. The pedigree. Yeah, I don't blame him. It's.
Yeah, he's a big dude, obviously.
Yeah, but like you said, the selling was amazing. By Triple H. He was taking heat the entire match. Yeah. He almost had no offense.
Yeah.
And it was just good selling. Like you said, shout out to Triple H. Mm-hmm. But I think you looked it up a little bit prior to recording, but how did Khali get this match? How did this happen? Was it just the fact that he was so dominant and destroying and everybody he was going through everyone and they just gave him a match, or what was it?
So you know what's funny about this is that before this, he'd fought Cena for the WWE title. He had challenged for these titles before. He fought Undertaker at another SummerSlam, I think, for the world title.
Is this post Punjabi prison matches?
Win the world title? I'm pretty sure Khali held the world title. Yeah,
before
he
this.
did. Yeah, before this. So he
definitely held the world title. I just didn't know if it was before or after this.
Yeah, before.
I saw a lot of really early Khali.
So he was definitely, looked at still at this point as a top tier guy
in the eyes of management.
Yeah. But he got this by winning a battle royal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least that justifies something more than just him being kind of dominant or given an opportunity, which I wouldn't be against, because if you can come into the WWE and defeat, like, in storyline, if you can come into the WWE and defeat all the new wrestlers, then I don't know, you should be given a match. But it's cool that they had something to back it up with the Battle Royal and stuff. So always good. But like you said, man, I wanted to take a quick note on it before we go to the finish, because the match wasn't too long, and we'll get the time from you as well.
Yeah.
But he is so fucking big. Like, he's just a big human. Like, and not in a fat way, not in a big jacked Brock Lesnar way.
Yeah.
He's just huge. Like, his head is probably like twice the size of my head. Like, it's just, not literally, but you know what I mean. Like, his hands are.
The visual of Triple H looking up at him, it was interesting too, because Triple H is a big guy himself.
Not a small dude.
And it's not often you see Triple H looking like so, like even Triple H and Undertaker, you don't see that.
No,
like
directly up.
So that was an interesting visual for me.
So I understand that aspect of like why they wanted to bring him in, and he's a special attraction, and he's different, and I get all that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought I wanted to bring that up. But we can go into the end. I really, they caught me off guard because they did a really good spot, and I'll get the finish or the time from it in a minute, but they did a spot where Khali was grabbing Triple H's head, squeezing his head. Triple H grabbed onto Khali's arms, managed to break his arms free of his head, but then that only lasted for, I want to say, 5 to 10 seconds, because then Khali managed to get his head back onto Triple H. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And maybe not cool is the wrong word, but I just thought that was a good way of showing the strength of Triple H not only being able to release it, but then having Khali grab it back on. I thought they did a good job of that.
No, for sure, I agree.
But then Triple H kind of threw Khali into the corner.
Yeah.
Turned him around, pedigree, 1, 2, 3.
Well, it took him a minute to almost lock it. Not a minute, literally, but
to get it in.
Yeah, because he had the one arm, and Khali was kind of fighting as he was trying to hook the other arm.
Yeah.
And then even when he did, seemed like Khali was going to flip him, or then he did get it, and he got the 1, 2, 3.
For sure.
And that match, the time on it was 9 minutes and 18 seconds. Did it feel that long? Did it feel shorter? What do you think?
It felt a little bit longer. I wouldn't have said much. Like, I would have said maybe 12 to 13, something like that. So 9 minutes not being that much different. But it was believable, the way that Triple H won, even though he had taken heat the whole match. I still thought it was believable that he managed to pull that off. But give me your thoughts kind of on Triple H having 7 SummerSlam wins in a row. Is that something you knew about?
When you brought it up, I've heard some type of stat about his SummerSlam record before, and it might have been at this SummerSlam or after.
That he lost?
I remember here. Like, it's not the first time I've heard about.
Do you know if it got to 8 or 9? Or
not 100%. I'd have to look into it.
I don't remember what he was doing in 09 and 10
before, and I don't know if it's because I've watched this pay-per-view before, like in that remembering that.
Yeah, I just thought it was cool. I definitely wrote it down after he won that would make it 7 in a row.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting little side note.
So overall, your thoughts on the match? I gave it like a 2 out of 5, man. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
For the storytelling, obviously not for the length. Or the quality.
It wasn't
of the match.
anything that would it was no fucking, Kurt Angle wrestling match.
No, definitely not. But it wasn't even I don't know. Triple H
I'm not going to shit all over it, because
it was better than you were.
It was better than I remembered.
Driving here today to record.
Yeah, it was better than I had remembered.
Yeah.
I didn't love it, didn't hate it. It had its place. It had its place.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Should we move on?
Yeah, big time.
First time ever.
Huge.
This one was big for me, man. I got to be honest, and we're probably going to have a lot to say about it. John Cena versus Batista.
I feel like you're a Cena guy. I'm a Batista guy. It's nice.
I'm definitely a Cena guy, less of a Batista guy. I like him, but
that's what I mean. It's cool. We got our
I don't know. This was just a big match to me. This, like I've said a billion times, these were the guys that were big when I got into wrestling, and they were on top. The first WrestleMania that I ever saw, WrestleMania 21, they both won the title for the first time, and I don't know if did that happen at any other WrestleManias where we have 2 different people winning the championship for the first time at a WrestleMania? I know I don't want to put you on the spot, but I don't think it has.
No, not really. like it wasn't the first time. The similarity, like there was the whole thing with obviously Eddie and Benoit, but it wasn't the first for
either one of them.
Guerrero was defending, Benoit had won, so it was his first. But
exactly,
yeah, but no, as far as like two guys who are like a mainstay in the company and
kind of the next faces
to carry the torches throughout the years. So no, not that I can remember.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited, and I'm gonna say right now we're probably gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'll let you make your picks for WrestleMania as well, but I'm very excited to look back at WrestleMania 21. When WrestleMania season comes around, and I'm sure we'll be killing it by then because
for sure,
you know. Don't forget to check us out on Pro Wrestling LookBack at PW LookBack, Instagram at PW LookBack, all the stuff. Send us emails, prowrestlinglookback.gmail or at gmail.com. But yeah, let's get into the match.
Yeah.
It was a dope promo vid at the beginning, man. 6 years in the making, like we talked about, kind of the two guys that were given the torches back in 2005. And I got to be honest, I wish I saw this live. I really wish I saw this back in 2008. I wish I was watching at this time because I can tell you for a fact, young Nick, young Salsa, whatever you want to call it, your boy here would have liked it.
Oh, yeah.
And I would have been all over this match. And I don't know. Before we get into it, give me your... I know you like Batista, but who's better? As the silence...
I like Batista better. No, I was thinking, but I personally do like Batista better. Like, I respect John Cena, but like I'm not going to say that he's better because wrestling in itself, like, and it's interesting. I don't want to go too off topic with this random thing I'm going to bring up, but wrestling itself, it's like it's an opinion, man. You can't like it's predetermined. I can't say Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world. It's not a real like sport guy. Like
you can in the sense that you can say
it's a preference though.
Yeah,
it's a preference.
I was going to bring up actors kind of and say that this is my favorite actor. Or this is the best actor, but no, that's
just
point.
my opinion on it. Like it's not like so that's something just I've been thinking about lately, but. I personally, You're a
Batista guy.
I like Batista, man. It's my guy.
No, and hey, we know that.
And I know other people.
Send us any comments if you guys know of any, B movies Batista's been in, because Donovan's itching to see
probably seen
all of them if he hasn't already. But Cena was looking pretty good too. I got to say that I like the cap and the gear he was wearing.
Yeah, it was cool to see him rocking a jersey.
Yeah, it was a bit different.
Yeah,
it was kind of old school Cena, which we saw, on some of our other lookbacks. So. That was cool. This match, like I said, didn't really need the hype.
Yeah.
But it had it, but it didn't need it. Like you didn't need to have like JR and Cole hyping it up as much as they did, but it helped.
Sorry, I don't want to go back to it too much,
back.
But it's hard to say that like because Batista obviously Cena's been around so much longer too.
Yeah.
And I feel like Batista doesn't always get the credit for like he's put on some like really different matches, like with different types of guys. I mean, like
no, for
not
sure,
just Triple H, big fucking dudes.
No, but I think he does. I think he just doesn't get the credit on the microphone that Cena has.
Yeah,
and that's kind of maybe where he falls short in the comparison. Aspect.
Yeah,
but I kind of messed that up there. I was saying JR, and it was different. I made a note that I wish JR was on this match because obviously, like I said, this was Cole and King.
Yeah,
and they were talking about the hype, but. I would have preferred to have JR in this match. To me, it would have made sense. Those two guys are. I know JR is even older than their generation, but I associate them.
He's still
with the JR voice.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, there was. They talked about them winning the tag titles for 1 week.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
I did not remember this. I did not know this.
Didn't know at all. I feel like they just did it to make it something to talk about in this feud.
Yeah.
Like it probably happened during the feud or just before the feud, or I think it happened during because they said that
they only held them for a week,
and they joined forces probably just to take out some fucking B team, type of team. But you know what I mean.
Do you know who they lost them to?
No, did you look it up?
I believe it was Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes.
Okay, so maybe not quite a B team.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know who they took them off, but
well, maybe it is though in the sense that they're both second and third generation wrestlers. But
that was good.
Yeah, hey, I try. I had one word written down for this match, and I want to add a word to it because I had power written down.
Yeah,
which it definitely did have.
Star power.
But yeah. I think it's star power is the better, and maybe we can put that as one word.
Again,
star power.
Not to sound like a fucking, complete bought into this, but like again, man, this blockbuster shit.
Dude,
I just feel like this match.
I said it to you during the show.
Sense.
I asked you, I said, I know we pretty much almost predominantly look back at WWE stuff now, but how much of a WWE homer or quote unquote mark am I that when I seen John Cena versus Batista in the opener promo at the beginning of the night, I was fucking happy. I was fired up, and I said, "Hey, I want to see that. Yeah. I want to see those two guys go at it because those are two guys that I, like I said before, associated with as a kid, and I don't care. This is something that I wanted to see, and like you said, it was back to the blockbuster aspect of it. Yeah, was huge. Talk about maybe a little bit how much these guys have grown since. Because you think it was a blockbuster in 2008. Imagine these two guys went at it now.
Yeah, wow.
This would be a true blockbuster in the sense of, Cena's in fucking Transformers and Trainwreck and all these kinds of movies. And Batista's a Marvel star now. And I don't know. They've come a long way. And they were already, at the top of the wrestling industry at this time.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up. Because I think it would definitely have a lot of appeal to it if they did it now.
Yeah, and this was a big deal for WWE at that time.
Yeah.
If they did it now, fuck. I don't know if they'd be getting the positive reactions from the crowd now.
I think maybe as a nostalgia thing, they might actually.
If they were to do it now, like what you said about the nostalgia thing, I think they got to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe 2020, 2019, 2021. I don't know. Somewhere a little, not now.
Batista's up there, though, man.
How old is he?
There. He's in his early 50s.
And are you at the point where you don't want to watch a Batista match unless it's the type of match that you remember?
I just think there's a small window, and it's got to happen soon.
And he wants it to be with Triple H.
Yeah, he could still do a couple other things. It doesn't have to just be a one and done. But I just think, there's a small window. And obviously, with Cena being not there all the time, I think people would really enjoy it. Just to people like you and me who remember watching these guys come up. Yeah, to have them fight each other now.
Yeah. I would totally be down.
Yeah,
more interested than Triple H. Not that I don't want to see him and Triple H fight again in 2018, 19, 20. But I would be more interested, I think, to see Cena.
Both two different and really good stories, I think you could tell. But anyway, back to this.
Yeah, back to more to this match. Sorry to get too off topic, guys. But I don't know. They got out of the ring, or FU out of the ring.
Oh, yeah.
And I had it written down. Wait, this was still the FU? I thought they got rid of this at this point.
Not yet, no.
What was it, 9-10? It had to have been soon.
Soon, yeah. And probably maybe later on when Cena comes back.
After the injury?
Yeah, because I also noticed one thing, the crowd, he definitely got a good reaction, but I noticed...
They still booed him, though.
That's what I mean. No, that's what I mean. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of that. This is because I seen a sign that said, Cena enough.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So
wow.
Shout out to that guy with the sign.
Yeah, shout out. That's a really good sign. Wow. But back after they got back in the ring after the FU outside, Cena went for another FU, and this was something I really wanted to get your take on. He goes to give him the FU. Batista slides off his back and gets him in with a rear naked choke quick.
Yeah. That was nice.
Like MMA style, quick. And I thought that was really cool to see Batista pull out some MMA quotes type move. This was obviously way before he had done anything. He had ventured into that territory.
For sure.
So I thought that was really cool. I know you being a big UFC fan. It was...
Yeah, the transition was awesome. And I bet, Batista, he was probably a fan, so for him to pull that out of his arsenal, too, back then was definitely cool to see. Because I feel like, even more later on, Batista, he did try, there was a point he tried to incorporate, a submission.
Yeah.
The Batista bite or something. I remember he was trying to use, he was trying to use, he'd use the submission for a little bit.
Wanted to try and have something else.
Yeah. So, but it was wicked to see, and it was smooth too, the transition. With Cena having him up there and
then it looked really cool. Yeah. I would have liked to see how he did more maybe in MMA.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't think he's venturing down that road any time soon. I think that door is closed. But I don't know what happened in between. I kind of had it written down. There was a nice reversal of a slam into an FU, but Cena was very slow to cover him, so there was a 2 count.
Yes.
I don't specifically remember that. Sorry about anybody listening. But basically, the finish of the match we'll go into now. Cena went to the top rope after hitting Batista with a move.
Did you like the back and forth? Boo, yeah. The crowd getting into the punches from the two of them?
This is when they went up to the top rope?
Yeah, before the move was taken.
Before
I liked it because it built to it.
No, I agree. And it was good. And like you said, Cena wasn't quite fully booed at this point, so it wasn't like overwhelming hate.
No, but he was definitely taking the bad guy side in the sense of like,
for sure,
got to pick a guy
out of the two of them. Yeah, no, you're not wrong there. But I just, and this is real nitpicking, fucking shit. But they were up there too long, man. The ref should have done something.
I remember you saying that, so that's why I was curious.
Yeah, like I was watching it and I'm going, ref, get a hold of the match here. Like you're supposed to at least pretend to be counting to 5, or he didn't even start counting, and that pissed me off. And I don't want to nitpick and say it really got under my skin because it's something very small, but I like to see consistency, and I like the sports aspect of it as much as I love storytelling, and I talked about it multiple times and how that's like my favorite part about pro wrestling. I like to see the real sport aspect of it as well.
Not to like, you know, argue the opinion or fight it, but like just to play the devil's advocate here, do you think, because I remember we talked about it in another match, I think it was Undertaker and Austin, but do you think, like, because of the magnitude of it being, like, I don't know, I'm just looking at me trying to
I think what you're about to say can only go so far.
Yeah. Because but is this one of those situations because of who it is?
Yes, but they went too far.
Yeah.
Like, the way I look at it is, if anybody listening watches hockey, you look at hockey in the playoffs. In the NHL playoffs, when there's penalties, they go a little easier in the playoffs than they do in the regular season. They let stuff slide, basketball. They let stuff slide a little more, which that's, I think, kind of what you're trying to say, is that this is a big match and maybe we'll let it slide here.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with, but it just got to the point where I didn't even hear a 1 or a 2.
Yeah.
You know,
honestly, I
don't
got
mind
lost in the...
when they 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he kind of get off him. That's better because at least it shows that the ref is making an effort.
But he wasn't even trying to get in between.
No.
Honestly, I didn't know. I remember you bringing it up, but I wasn't. I caught up in the back and forth.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
But no, I hear what you're saying totally.
We haven't used it tonight, but I got to be honest. Get a couple claps out for this match before we get into the finish, but it's definitely a good match.
For sure.
I just had to get that in there. You know, we haven't used a sound effects machine all night. I figured I'd get something in. But yeah, so they were up top fighting each other on the top rope, kind of like you said, booing and cheering back and forth. Cena eventually gets the last laugh, knocks Batista down onto the mat, and Cena, I kind of said it to you. I was like, oh, is he going for the leg drop? Because I don't know if he had been doing that yet.
Yeah, I just stayed quiet.
The leg drop off the top rope kind of to the bent over wrestler. But no, that was definitely not the case. Cena jumped straight at him. Batista caught him and Batista bombed him midair. Now, I know obviously like this is a pro wrestling move, but Cena knows what the fuck's happening. Like when he's jumping in the air, is he jumping in the air thinking, okay, I'm going to jump up, lean backwards, and land on my back from above the top rope? Like, fuck that. I don't know. Credit to John Cena there because it just looked like a tough move to do and easy to over-rotate and really hurt yourself.
And he did really hurt himself. Like, he hurt his neck here.
Yeah, I wanted to have you... I had it here. This might be Don's take for the night.
Dun, 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 dun.
But talk maybe a little bit on the Cena injury before we talk about how the match actually finished.
In watching it, I was trying to remember what it was exactly because I couldn't tell off a first look like what it looked kind of ugly, but I thought like it was something to do with his shoulder or something because his elbows almost seemed to be up and hit the mat.
Pop out
like
a
it
bit.
Didn't look like his head really snapped back or anything.
Yeah,
but no, I remembered that it was in this match, this spot. I remembered because of the Cena injury history
for sure.
But yeah,
that was pretty much. He went down. Batista caught him, like I said. He went down, hit the Batista bomb, 1-2 kick out. I thought that was a little strange. Yeah, not as strange right off the bat. More strange when I seen what happened next. Because all that happened was Cena sat up a little bit similar, not like an Undertaker, but in that position, sitting up on his butt, just sitting flat. Batista bounced off the ropes, kicked him in the head, picked him back up. Batista bomb. Hard Batista bomb.
That kick was fucking hard, too. I want to bring that up.
And his face was vicious. He had a little edge in him, which we'll talk about in a bit. But, yeah, the kick was vicious. And then he went in with a really hard Batista bomb. And then that was it. 1, 2, 3. And not that it was a bad finish, but I'm sitting here thinking, well, why didn't he just finish him with the big move off the top rope?
Yeah, so...
Why did we have to get Cena kicking out of that?
A part of the Don's take on this, I think... I didn't think about it so much in the moment, but now, like, thinking I liked it for the fact because, the first one didn't finish him, so that's why he got pissed. He was like, okay, fuck you. Boom, kick to the head, and then I'm going to just...
Now, do you think that's because...
You're not going to stay down for that one? Now you're going to stay down.
Do you think that's because that's something that we don't see a lot of?
What's that? The double finisher?
Yeah, or just the non-swerviness of the finish. Like, it was very, okay, kick out. Nope. Try it one more time. This time it works.
Yeah, actually, your point is probably, in today's day and age, it's very different. Like, we don't kick out. And I feel like the Batista bomb was pretty protected, as a finisher.
I just thought it was odd. It's not, like I said, I really enjoyed this match, and it was, I got to be honest, it was probably my favorite match of the night, as far as pure wrestling matches go and storytelling. But I just thought it was weird that they had to do that. But again, it could be to change it up. And you got to keep things fresh. You know what I mean? If they had never done that, then maybe we wouldn't have been talking as much about it. I don't know. Or maybe it wouldn't have had the buzz that it had back then. But anything else you want to talk about Cena's injury or no?
No, I know that it was the neck. He got his neck fused. And I remember when he came back, his big match was in his hometown. And he actually won the world title in Boston at a Survivor Series, I believe it was.
Really?
Against Chris Jericho, yeah.
I feel like I've seen clips of that. No, not the match. But
that's a good match.
Clips of it.
Speaking, it's rare.
It's cool to know that Chris Jericho ended up with the world title too.
Yeah.
I'd like to look back. I know I say this every show, but I'd like to look back more about what happened after this.
Yeah, for sure.
And see. I feel like I need to.
Especially Shelton Benjamin. I'm curious why he was there.
Yeah, and the lack of showing him. I don't want to get into it again, but they didn't really show much of him.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But did you have the time for this one?
Yeah.
And maybe you're kind of overall, maybe your Meltzer, your five. I'm thinking we should do a little thing where we put little Meltzer heads. It's how many Meltzers is this match? Is it a 4 out of 5 Meltzer? Not because the stars is his thing.
Yeah.
So why don't we make our thing him? And I know we Mike, if you're listening. Shout out to you. I know you love Meltzers.
Yeah,
we'll do it for you.
We'll take a vote or something,
Yeah,
we're not opposed to it.
We'll leave it at stars for tonight.
13 minutes and 44 seconds.
Again, not very long.
Not very long, yeah. I thought it was a lot. It felt, in the moment,
minutes.
It felt longer. Maybe it's just because we were both sucked into the match.
I think I'm starting to realize why I got 2 pages of notes for the main event.
Yes, good point.
Maybe because they knew how much time they were going to be giving to this next match that we're about to talk about.
My overall rating on the match, I don't know how I would rate. I really enjoyed it, though.
I put it kind of just under perfect, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
4.5 out of 5.
I don't want to give it an exact
That's
rate.
for the short match, too.
Yeah. It was solid, though. I fucking thoroughly enjoyed this match.
And a lot of it for me was the build.
Yeah.
Going in. Like I said, if they did this again in 2018, it would be money.
Mm-hmm.
Money, money, money. But let's move on to the next one.
The main event.
This was definitely the big one. I think it deserves an applause before we even get into it.
Yep.
Edge and Undertaker.
No, Edge and The Undertaker.
The Undertaker.
In a tag team. No, I'm just...
Before we go into the match, if anybody's listening to the show, again, we appreciate you listening to the whole show. Check us out on Pro Wrestling LookBack on YouTube and Instagram, all that stuff. I'm not going to get into all of it again. You've heard it by now if you've listened to the whole show, but I just wanted to get into the fact of kind of why we chose to do this pay-per-view, and it has a lot to do with this match. We have Hell in a Cell coming up next month. We've got SummerSlam coming up this week, if you're listening to the show currently. And we thought that it would be a perfect way to end our SummerSlam lookbacks and look forward, which we don't always do, at Hell in a Cell. And this is a perfect way, seeing as how it's the last match on a SummerSlam pay-per-view, ending with a Hell in a Cell match.
Genius. Great idea.
Yeah. Shout out to Don.
I'm a fucking genius.
On that one.
I'm just kidding.
He's not taking that much credit for it or anything. Let's fuck.
Yeah, I'll go on my rant at the end of the show. I got a little rant. Got a little special something. So if you're listening, just a little special something for you guys at the end. A little treat, a little tidbit.
Ooh. Yeah. After the memorable moments?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so that's stay tuned for what we got coming in the next month of September, leading into Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. We're going to try and maybe do some of the earlier first Hell in a Cell matches, as well as maybe some of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-views.
Yeah, maybe we'll take a vote.
Yeah,
too.
We could do that on Twitter. Probably,
sure.
Yeah. That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go into the main event of our evening here.
So this might have been my match of the night.
Yeah, and I had a tough time, but I went with the other one because of the star power.
Yeah.
And the reason, I'm a big I'm a big John Cena and Batista fan.
Where was Randy Orton? I was thinking of that during this. He must have had like a shoulder injury, I would think. No, I don't.
This guy's burying him.
No,
must have had a shoulder injury.
No, but that's if anytime Randy was gone, it was usually because of that. But I remember watching the show. I'm like, where is Randy? Because like it's
it's funny that you say that because I love Randy Orton.
But you didn't think of him once.
He might be my favorite wrestler, maybe of all time. Yeah. I don't know. We should do a show like that one time, maybe top 10 each.
Oh yeah, hopefully, I'm down for that.
Let's get that on Twitter and see if anybody responds, and we'll do the show. But I didn't even.
It didn't cross your mind?
No, it didn't even cross
of it now, right? Like, where was Randy?
Where the fuck was Randy? Well, that was a hell of a side topic. Good thing I said his name. But yeah, back to the main event. Edge versus The Undertaker.
Yeah.
I thought that this was pretty dope that they decided to put this in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have expected that from an Edge and Undertaker match. And I don't know. Just because there was no title involved, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
And not to take away from Edge or Undertaker, but just there was big stars in this match. Cena and Batista could have easily main evented if this was for a title. Absolutely.
Or Khali. Triple H. No, I'm just joking.
Maybe not. Maybe more Triple H.
Totally
but
joking.
Yeah, sure you were. But but I thought it was good and especially good for Edge. You know what I mean? I didn't see a lot of Edge after the Cena stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I thought it was cool to see Edge in the main event. I think it was probably because it was the World Heavy, or because it was a Hell in a Cell match. Yeah. That being said, I wanted to also state that it was the 15th Hell in a Cell match because that was something that the commentators brought up.
Nice. Didn't know that.
As well as just to kind of set the table that this match took place after, obviously if you're listening to this, you probably know, but this took place after their match for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, after a lot. I think this was kind of the end of the feud. This was like kind of toward. Yeah, I feel like this was the end, honestly, of the feud because they had a lot of matches. They had a TLC match and.
Yeah, well, with the way that this match ends, and we'll talk about probably in the next 20 minutes, that does make sense.
Yeah.
So I can see why you say that, and yeah, that makes sense. But before, like we always do, before we talk about the actual match and the wrestling and the story told there, how about the promo? I thought they did a really good job with the build of this match.
Good promo.
I thought the cheating Edge and the Vicky and him yelling at Vicky and her kind of threatening him with bringing the Undertaker back and reinstating the Undertaker because she was a GM at this point, right?
Yeah, and also his wife.
So she had the power to do that and also get back at him for him cheating on her, the videos that were found. But aside from all of that, I thought the promo that Edge was cutting on Mick Foley and the promo that Mick Foley cut back to Edge saying that you need to bring the guy that I fought at WrestleMania. If you bring this guy, meaning the guy he was standing in front of, the character he was representing at that time, you're going to lose and you're not going to win.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I think that was some of Edge's best work.
Yeah,
personally.
Man, I had it written down, holy fuck.
Yeah, like, that was wicked. Like, just everything about that promo and afterwards with Vicky and the psychotic look on his face.
Yeah. So heel, man.
Like,
so heel.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought that was really some of his best work on the mic.
But, so after that promo, they hyped this up as well as they possibly could. That was probably the best pre-match promo of the night, in my opinion. But we had Edge coming out. He came out first. He was looking extremely focused, and I know this is a small topic, but he brought back the wet hair.
Oh, yeah, you did bring that up, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I picture him with the red hair and the long coat and the sunglasses, kind of pre-John Cena, rated R, Lita time.
Yeah.
But I just thought, I don't know, maybe he did that because it was a Hell in a Cell and he wanted to look a little more focused and vicious. But it was different. It definitely looked old school. And, yeah, they gave him some fucking nice pyro, too, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I noticed he was like, I mean, the commentator said it as well, but I brought it up to you. Like, I was like, he looks excited.
Yeah.
Like he was eager.
He did not. It's one of the first times I've ever seen a Hell in a Cell match with a wrestler who didn't look like, you know, he was pissing his fucking pants sitting in the match waiting for Undertaker, or sitting in the ring waiting for Undertaker to come down.
Yeah, even just in general, like when Undertaker is going up against someone, they usually have that, you know, worried look or just a straight face kind of.
Yeah. No, I agree. And the commentators made, you know, they took note of that and they definitely pointed it out.
Yeah.
That Edge didn't look scared at all.
Maybe that's also due to the fact that, Edge, he was a little familiar with The Undertaker, and he had, obviously with some help, but he had beaten him before.
Yeah, and it wasn't his first time fighting him, so he kind of knew some of what he was expecting, but that was definitely not normal.
Yeah, no.
It
was a nice little touch, yeah.
Yeah, from an Undertaker match. But I was expecting to see more out of Undertaker's entrance, I got to be honest.
Oh, like
just more
pyro
or druids or lightning potentially. I don't know, just more because of the fact that I know I'd asked you about it, but he was gone. So he had lost to Edge. Edge kind of thought he had taken care of The Undertaker and gotten rid of The Undertaker, and I was expecting to see a little bit more in the entrance. Not that his entrance was bad. It was on par with any other Undertaker entrance. It just, I was like, I don't know. I was expecting a bit more.
I enjoyed the visual of before he entered the cage, kind of as he always does on the stairs, raising his hands and the lights go, but just being in front of the cell and raising the hands, seeing the lights. It was a nice visual. It was
For
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
No, definitely different than him being in the corner of the ring and stuff like that. I agree. I think it was more just druids and other props that I was expecting to see because he had been away. Mm-hmm. But that's a great point to bring up.
I don't think he was away that long, though, either.
Only a couple months, maybe?
Point. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think they mentioned that it was 2 months ago, 2 months that he had lost to TLC. Did you see that, TLC?
Yeah, I watched that match.
Okay.
It was like a title versus career type of...
So that's why Edge thought he had gotten rid of The Undertaker and taken care of him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that makes sense. The match started pretty quick, though. No,
loved it.
I don't know if they locked it up at the beginning, but
no, I think it was just straight. Edge tried to jump on him with the punches.
And they made it outside of the ring, not outside of the cage yet, but we'll get to that. But they made it outside of the ring pretty quickly, and Undertaker threw Edge into the side of the cage wall, as well as the door, which I thought was cool. You don't see that spot, I don't think, too often.
The door, right?
Yeah, with the door moving, it kind of added to that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But was there anything you wanted to talk about there?
No, I thought it was very fitting. I liked the quick start to it. Just,
Cool, yeah.
And Edge definitely being the attacker, too. That was nice.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you this because I think it's become, I don't know, somewhat of a theme on the show that we do now. Who do you like more? Who's taking the cake? Are you an Undertaker guy? If you're going up to the merch stand and they got Undertaker shirts and they got Edge shirts or whatever the merch may be, and you could only pick one, whose merch are you buying?
Well, I'm gonna say Edge, not just because of the Canadian thing, but I have an Edge shirt, like I told you. I have one. So it was gifted to me, but not to say I wouldn't buy an Undertaker shirt, but
you're probably more of an Edge
honestly
fan.
Though, yeah.
Does the Canadian aspect have anything to do with that?
It's honestly, it's
I don't
so
want to put
hard. I feel like I always get at a little crossroads with this question because like you get me good.
Yeah.
And
I try and catch you off guard too. Do it mid-match. I don't want to get you right at the beginning.
These are two guys. I can honestly say this. It's very 50-50 for me because
really,
yeah. When I was younger, The Undertaker was like my stepdad. He was like a huge Undertaker fan, so he always really liked The Undertaker. So he was kind of not pushed on me, but like.
Yeah,
I kind of got into Undertaker because of him.
For sure,
and he's pretty cool.
I think that's part of the reason why I'm not a huge Undertaker fan is because I didn't have that.
But then, like, same with Edge, not so much being pushed on me, but like me just being such a fan at that time. Like, I watched Edge all throughout the whole Brood stuff with Christian and Gangrel, branch off into his whole tag run with Christian, branch off into a singles star, and then I did miss the period of the whole Cena stuff and the Rated R. Yeah. But then I got back into it right before he retired. So that was awesome, like, for me to see.
To see the end.
Being a fan. So it's very much a 50-50 thing. But,
yeah, no, that's fine. Like I said, I always kind of like to throw it in there mid-match while we've been already talking about it so it's fresh.
Yeah.
Rather than getting your opinion before we dive into the match.
For sure.
We had the Edge heads. Chavo, Vicky, and what was the other guy's name?
Well, what about...
we don't remember?
No, well, what about Zack Ryder and...
well, that's what... Yeah, I said the Edge heads.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
the Edge heads. I didn't know... Yeah. Honestly, the only reason... And I'm happy you said that, because the only reason I didn't write Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder was because I didn't know if that's what their names were at this time. I didn't know if they were only referred to as the Edge heads.
It was both.
So, like, the people knew that their names were Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder?
Yeah.
Okay. Because this was before the whole Zack Ryder internet title
long
stuff,
before all that.
Right? Yeah.
But
that's what I thought.
Bam Neely was the other guy.
Bam Neely.
Yeah. I'm not too familiar with Bam, so
can't say. Was he in the dark match that you talked about? I think.
Yep. Big Show defeated him.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. More dogs joining us here.
What up?
But yeah, what do you want to go into now?
Yeah, because there was so much that happened.
I know there was a lot, man. Like, I don't know. Edge kind of speared Undertaker into the stairs.
Yes, and this was early, so I like to we'll get into that a little bit. That was very unique. And I remember, like, seeing it thinking, I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to get across here, but I feel like that's a move, it's very creative. And I feel like someone being a lifelong wrestling fan like Edge is someone who would come up with something like that.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like, it was cool. It was a nice little move.
Right before it, I think they actually got me because listening to Taz made me realize that what I had saw didn't actually happen, but it looked like Undertaker lifted up Edge because they had the stairs kind of standing up in the corner.
Yep.
And it looked like Undertaker lifted up Edge and dropped him face first into the stairs, but then Edge managed to push Undertaker into the stairs and have him drop down and sit in front of them, which led to the spear. But I thought that he actually knocked his head off the stairs there. But Taz brought up the fact, oh, yeah, he looked like he hit his head, but he didn't. He avoided it, and he pushed Undertaker into the stairs. And leading into the spear, I thought that was perfect.
Awesome. I've just never seen that, too. Like, I mean, I'd seen this match, but I don't, little things you don't remember like that. It was just a cool, different, unique
for sure
way to do the spear.
For sure. What do we got? We got Edge was stacking up 2 tables outside the ring.
Yeah, which led to some more things later on.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that Edge was, he was bringing all his, tools. No
to
pun
the table,
intended,
all the TLC type of stuff. He brought out the ladders, he brought out the tables, he brought out the chairs.
He was showing that he can, he has that hardcore side to him as well, and he was trying to bring out everything from his arsenal against the Undertaker.
He did. Undertaker got, he hit Undertaker with a chair to the throat. Got him back in the ring, and I know we're kind of all over the place, but these are just major points from the match. And then he put Undertaker on a table. He climbed to the top of a ladder. He grabbed the chair, and he said, "I understand."
Oh, yeah, quoting like the whole Mick Foley.
And he jumped down and hit Undertaker. Can you explain that a little bit, if you can?
Yeah. Well, he was just saying, because that's what he said right before he hit Mick Foley with the microphone. Because Mick Foley was telling him to bring out that side, so he was now showing, this is that side of it.
I understand.
And he got up there, yeah. And the commentator kind of they touched on it a little bit too.
Okay, because I didn't know if they were playing off something with Undertaker. That's what. Oh yeah. I was like, does he understand Undertaker?
Like
or?
Just saying to himself. Like,
I got you.
Yeah. There was a vicious shot with the steps. Was this was around this time? I feel like
a little bit later. That was. I wanted to this is another random point I wanted to bring up just because the announcer said it as well, that this was Edge's first Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
And the fact that he had interfered a year earlier in Undertaker's Hell in a Cell match and screwed Undertaker over. I don't know who that match was with. Maybe Triple H, I don't know. We can look it up later possibly. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. He did set up a concerto, I think, before what you mentioned, the steps to the head. And Undertaker's selling throughout this match was just fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know. He, what was it you were going to mention about the stairs into the head?
Just there was a shot that Undertaker gave Edge. They were outside of the ring.
I was going to say, that was outside the ring, was it not?
And he, right in the head, he juiced him with the steps. And I was like, holy.
You know what? That was actually the next thing I had written down. And sometimes I think I write too much that I end up missing some of it. But I had a point written down to talk off of that. I don't think that's a move you'd see now, no?
No.
Because unless I missed something, it looked like the sound that was made was Edge's head hitting the steps. There was no trickery there with smacking the steps or smacking your leg or anything like that. It was pretty vicious. But
it was a good shot.
Right after that, we had Edge spearing Undertaker right through the cage. Holy fuck.
Yeah. Which he jumped off another set of stairs that were placed in front. And
this was kind of if you're looking at the stage from the ring, this was to the right of the ring back corner.
Right in front of the announcers.
Right in front of the announcers, to the right of them. So
I forgot that the cage door broke open. I totally
really
missed it. Yeah.
Okay, well that must have been awesome for you to look back as we do.
All this match, I found there was a lot of points I was sitting on the edge of my seat or just saying "Holy fuck" or
forgot,
just clapping. I was excited. I had a grin on my face the whole time because
it
was just I'm a sucker for good hardcore matches. Like I just love that shit. So this match to me was like the one.
Scratch the itch, as they say.
Exactly, yeah.
But so after that, obviously, they're fighting outside of the ring now. They were on top of the tables, fighting for a little bit. I know Undertaker hit Edge with, or was it vice versa? Edge hit Undertaker with the
monitor,
right in the head. TV monitor.
Again.
Yeah, right in the head. Again, no extra sounds here to embellish what happened. This was fucking head on monitor. And
Taker also grabbed Edge and tossed him into the barricade pretty hard.
Really stiff. Yeah, you know what? I think again, we've talked about this on other shows, but I think these guys fucking
balls to the wall.
Talked to each other before and said, don't hold back when we get out there. They're beating the piss out of each other in this match. It was good to see. You know, not good to see in the sense that they're hurting each other, like long term, because we know Edge didn't have a long career, but you know, it's good to see because we don't see it a lot now.
Yeah.
But how about the next one? We had them getting on top of the announce tables. They had one of them cleared off, probably the Spanish.
Yeah, it was the furthest one. So.
And we had Edge running, hits Taker off of one of the tables through the other table.
Yeah, this is the holy shit moment for me.
What the fuck? Holy bumps. I don't know what to say. And maybe with the line of the night.
From JR.
From JR. He's not walking on water, he's walking on wood.
Yeah, that was great.
That was great. That's my best JR impression you're going to get for tonight. But
that's good.
That was, So they were fighting kind of outside of the ring after that, after obviously some selling and waiting and after the big table bump. But
made their way
back towards the ring. And, again, just the selling from Undertaker, man. Like, the beating that he took in this match is unbelievable.
Yeah. I like how, the little thing, because I want to get to it before they got back inside, is after the spear and Undertaker, when he's sitting up, he holds his it's a common Undertaker thing you see in like these long, grueling matches, but he threw his two hands up. Like he sat up and he threw his two hands up, but he's still groggy and has this dazed
He's like, I'm here to fight.
Yeah, I just love that.
Very, like, classic bar fighter mentality.
Yeah.
Old school.
For sure.
Oh, I like that. That's a good point to bring up as well. But once they got back in the ring, we had... this might have been the biggest chokeslam I've ever seen, man. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah, we got him up.
Unless it was Kane and Mysterio or something, I don't think you're going to get any more height. Because Undertaker, he got Edge up there into the next level of chokeslams and brought him down. And
then did he go? He went for a pin, I believe?
Yeah, I think it was a kick out, which... I don't know. It is what it is. It was a long match, and we'll get to the time at the end. But we had a low blow from Edge kind of after that, and this is where things kind of took a turn. Nice DDT and another kick out on two. We had the last ride get reversed onto the table into a spear, and then after that we had another kick out. So I love this match, but there was a lot of kickouts on finishers. Kicking out on the last ride, kicking out on the spear.
But in all fairness, these guys had fought so many times.
They had to do something different. But that combined, with all the weapons, I don't know. Like, he'd already went through a table. He been speared into the stairs. I get what you're saying. I just still
they were really they had to throw everything at each other. And as you've seen, with the end, you had to literally, neither man was going to give up. That's kind of what I think the story that they were telling.
Back to you talking about the hands being thrown up.
No, just even the finish, everything that Undertaker had did, all the damage he did to Edge, all the moves he was doing to Edge. I think it was needed in the sense of these guys have fought maybe 5-6 times in main event scenarios. WrestleMania main event had done all kinds of crazy matches, TLC matches, fucking cage match, whatever you can think of. And then this, it's almost it's expected in a sense because he said, I'm going to take you to hell, right? He said that.
I guess Edge did say that.
Yeah.
So.
And you're going down with me. So it was kind of neither man was just going to, it was going to take a lot more than just one tombstone or just one choke slam or one spear, one executioner. It was going to take a lot more than just a simple finish. It was going to take everything but the kitchen sink, I think, to finish either one of these guys. And that's how I looked at the kick-out sense, as opposed to a regular match where they're just throwing finisher, and then kick out. I thought it made sense for what the story was.
No, I'm happy you went into that because it's definitely changed my opinion a little bit. You're right. It made more sense, and the story of them having so many matches prior, I think, makes me feel even more okay about it.
Yeah.
But back to the match. It was kind of long compared to the rest of the show. I had this one written down, but I'll let you get it since this is going to be your new thing.
Yeah, 26 minutes and 43 seconds.
So not a long match in the sense of long matches, but I don't think we got a lot of long matches in quotes back then.
Yeah, no.
Like, did they have 35-minute, 40-minute matches?
I'd have to.
Not that we get a lot of those now, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm sure they were still taking place.
This was by far the longest match.
Not at this particular pay-per-view.
On this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good for us in the sense to look back at it, kind of we can jump through them decently quick, but I don't know. It felt long, but after we had kind of brought up the fact that we felt it had been going a while, they definitely got into the finish not long after that. So, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, we had Edge also bring out that camera.
Yes.
Which
kind of playing back to Edge screwing over Undertaker the year prior with the camera and the concerto.
Yeah, because he was disguised as a cameraman in that.
Which makes perfect sense.
That match. So he brought the camera, hit him again in the fucking head.
In the head. Yeah, shit. I'd be curious to know how many concussions Undertaker's had in his career.
Honestly, man, I don't know. I loved all this shit, all the hardcore shit. I was loving every moment of this fucking match. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But so we had the Edge School.
Yeah.
Kind of Edge taking.
That's what I called it.
Taking Undertaker up to the top rope to do old school Undertaker's patented move.
Got dropped on his nads.
Yeah, Undertaker reversed it, went to push him, fell onto his nads there on the rope, and then Undertaker climbed the top rope a little bit, gave Edge the old clap that we always talk about to the throat, the cane glove clap.
Great.
And he proceeded to lift him up and chokeslam him into two tables that Edge had set up outside the ring before that.
Yeah. To anybody listening, me talking about it doesn't know justice. You have to go see this.
Yeah.
This match.
He goes off the top rope through two tables in between the ring and the cell. I might add. Yeah. Just a shout out to Edge.
Oh yeah.
And Undertaker too, but Edge for taking the bump. Undertaker took lots throughout the match. But fuck, that's a tough one to take, man, and I would not want that one. But so after that,
this is where Undertaker kind of takes over.
Yeah.
Undertaker was like
pretty much he does that. He rolls him into the ring. I'll let you go.
No, we'll just back into the whole stories. I love that he didn't go for a pin here, and this is why I thought all those ones made sense because he didn't bring him in and then go for a pin. He's like, no, you know what?
You're not done.
I'm gonna fuck you up right now. I'm gonna give you everything. I'm just gonna beat the shit out of you
with your own.
No,
shit.
You're not gonna get up. Yeah, and basically everything you did to me, I'm gonna now do it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not getting up. I'm gonna make sure you're not getting up.
Tell the listeners.
So yeah,
what did he do?
What did he go first with the camera? I believe it was.
I think it was a spear.
Oh yeah,
spear first.
That caught me. I was I was popping for that.
I jumped for that, to be honest.
I've never seen Undertaker do a spear. It's cool.
No. And it makes sense because he's the kind of guy that looks like he could pull off a spear. So we had the spear first. Then he grabbed the camera, juiced him with the camera to the point that the fucking top of the camera broke off. Again, headshots. That might be the highlight of this match is headshots and holy fuck moments.
And then we had Undertaker set him up for a concerto.
And then he smoked him with it. Like there was no
He sandwiched his head, man.
Yeah, that was vicious. So then he picked him up.
Holy shit.
Tombstone, like Undertaker does. The classic patented Undertaker pin. 1, 2, 3. Very physical fucking match. Very good match.
Yeah. Awesome.
Were you happy with the way that it closed? And we'll talk more about how it actually closed, but with that aspect of it?
Yeah, because like I said, I've seen it before. It's probably been 4 or 5 years, though, since I've watched this match.
Shit.
So I knew who won, but I didn't remember I knew there was some crazy shit going to happen, but I didn't remember every little detail.
Yeah.
So I loved it. Yeah. Loved the finish. This was definitely my match for the night.
Yeah, well, I had it written down again. Like, I'd be happy to watch this again.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I'd have no troubles. I can understand how you've seen it multiple times. I would easily go back and watch this match again and have no, regrets.
Yeah, and I recommend it to anyone listening.
Yeah,
for sure.
If you haven't watched the show before listening to us, which we appreciate that'd be awesome. But yeah, go back and watch this match. It's definitely worth watching. I kind of rated it again 4.5 out of 5. I think the 2 top matches on this card, again, with the last few that we've done in the SummerSlam lookbacks, I think they did a really good job. So I think it'll be the last one, but one more applause
for sure
for this match. Just to shout out Edge and Undertaker on their hard effort and work.
And also, bumping. I think it underrated maybe feud. I don't know if it's talked about as much, but this is a good feud.
It might not be talked about as much as maybe, Jericho or Michaels,
or even Edge and Cena. That's more talk. But this is
definitely Edge and Cena's more talk
feud, man.
But yeah, that's
some
true.
Good matches.
I would like to go back and maybe watch the TLC match.
Even the WrestleMania match.
That I've seen. Obviously,
yeah,
we taled about that off air, but I don't want to get into that. But yeah, I've seen that match as well. Good match.
So we had Taker standing at the entranceway there.
Yeah, and he was looking like he was gonna leave, and
that again, back to the set, was a fucking wicked visual, I thought.
Perfect set with the Undertaker written on the movie, you know what I mean, like we talked about earlier. Awesome. And then the announcers made a comment like, "Oh, Edge is still moving. He's still kind of," and then it was like Undertaker heard them or something, because he went to throw up the arm like he normally does, and then he kind of turned back like, "Nope."
Well, I think it's
I'm not done.
Being the dead man, he's got a sense. He's got a certain sixth sense for.
So he picked up on the sixth sense-ness apparently of Edge, and he went back to the ring.
What was the look on his face, when he turned around?
Yeah, I wish you guys could see both of us right now, but the wide eye. Just picture that emoji with the 2 eyes popping out of his skull. That's pretty much how Undertaker looked. But I thought that even before what we're going to talk about next happened, I thought this was a great way to close the show. But then with this happening,
just added to it?
Yeah. Undertaker came back to the ring, picked up Edge. It was weird. He set up a ladder, picked up Edge in a kind of a powerbomb last ride.
Yeah.
But then threw him up on the ladder. I think that was just Undertaker's way of getting him up there. He probably thought that was easier than putting him on his shoulders.
It was cool.
So, yeah, that was kind of cool. He went out, grabbed another ladder, set it up beside Edge, climbed up the ladder. Taz had a great comment. It looks like Edge is melting off the ladder.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to say something about
that. I thought that was fucking money.
Yeah.
Just a good comment by Taz. Again, shout out to Taz for his show and everything. I love the work you do. But he proceeded to, again, grab him kind of for the choke slam and lift him up.
But then he said, before he threw him.
Here we go. You finish it.
He said, he looked at him and said, "You're going to hell. I'm taking you to hell right now."
I'm taking you to hell. Lifting him up.
Launched him through the ring, literally.
Yeah, literally through the ring.
Fucking ring, guys.
And I mentioned it when we were watching it, but kudos to them for not ever going to that part of the ring, because clearly they couldn't use that part of the ring during the match. But yeah, kudos to them. Yeah. And then what did we get after that, Don? We had Undertaker kind of in the corner looking like, fuck, finally I've gotten rid of this guy. He's gone.
I think he did his little pose.
Yep.
Signature pose. And
then? The
fire rising
from the
hell.
Ring. Literally balls, like I'm talking 6, if you guys haven't seen this, like 6-7 foot flames.
Awesome visuals.
4 foot by 5 foot wide coming out of the fucking ring, to the point where the ring started to catch on fire. And they probably went off air because of the fact that the guys who were under the ring had to come out and put the fire out. So shout out to WWE for going fucking balls to the wall in full effort in this main event. It was an amazing way to close the show, and even a better visual of Undertaker just looking not defeated, but
exhausted
and rewarded finally putting away Edge.
Yeah, it was great, man. Icing on the cake, I thought, with that thing at the end.
Great match. So overall, pretty good show, man.
Solid.
That's my go-to. Pretty good.
Pretty good show.
Pretty good.
Man. Pretty good.
But no,
not bad.
All honesty, this was a good show, and I enjoyed watching it. I would almost maybe say that in the future I could see myself watching this pay-per-view again.
Yeah.
Possibly. Definitely the last couple matches.
Last few,
Batista and John Cena. I almost said Randy Orton again. And Undertaker Edge match. But yeah, so...
Yes, solid.
Is it time?
I think it's fucking time.
We need a jingle, man.
We'll get one.
Should we get a jingle?
Yeah.
Stay tuned for the jingle coming up. But this is going to be the memorable moments segment.
Moments of the night.
Yeah. So these are...
Moments of the night. There you go. That's the new jingle.
Moments of the night.
I just came up with that.
Oh, so that's the jingle. But yeah, so essentially what this is kind of... We talk about moments that we're going to remember down the line. Whether that's a week from now when we
listen to the show, if we do or you do, or whether that's 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, what are the moments that me and Donovan are going to think back to when we think of SummerSlam 2008 and the time that we look back at it? Yeah, I'll let you kind of dive in there first, Donovan.
Yeah, well, for me, I think it's an obvious one, but it's definitely not the main event, the last match, Edge, Undertaker.
Just the whole last match as a whole?
Yeah.
As a whole?
You're not Edge is no longer wrestling. Undertaker's on his way out in 2018. So it was just awesome for me to see these two and everything they did. But as far as specific moments, definitely, man, that chokeslam through the ring.
With the fire? Because
before me and you got into doing this show and we talked about doing Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Honestly, man.
You forgot?
No. This was what the only reason I remembered this match closed the show was because of that. That I remember he goes through the ring and there's so that was the only reason I knew that a Hell in a Cell.
Thinking about that now, that's probably a big reason as to why this match closed the show.
Yeah.
You can't really light the ring on fire in the co-main event.
But it was high profile.
Oh, no. Not to say that it didn't deserve to close the show. I just mean that definitely was a contributing factor in why they chose to close the show with this match.
But that's, for me, that's definitely my one moment. Because like I said, now, look, how many years later? Whenever the hell I watched it for the first time. But just remembering that specifically definitely made it my moment. And then all the spots.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, if you had to give me kind of a top 2, top 3 moments number 1, kind of maybe the chokeslam through the ring with the fire. Yeah. Is anything else from the show that stuck out to you?
Definitely that match. Obviously, man, I said it before. If you guys are listeners of the show, I went into a deep dive on Batista and Randy Orton and just star power and
that was big Armageddon.
Yeah, at Armageddon.
2008 that we look back at.
Yep.
Oh, again, same year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to think we look back the same year.
But just the star power again, man. Like you said it, we both talked about it during the match, but Batista and John Cena, it felt like such a big fucking deal. And not to take away from guys current or of the past even. Well, not so much from the past. I'm going to say more so current, but just, I don't know if we're ever going to get two guys of like this level again that are just, you
never know.
Both so popular with the fans. And
I could see maybe like a Kenny Omega, AJ Styles in WWE. But I know that they've built their craft elsewhere, so but it's not really the same.
Not to even discredit them or not to be a guy who just, I love the big Jack, whatever.
But they're big
wrestler.
Stars. They look like stars. Like, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? They have a certain charisma to them, aura, the way they carry themselves, the way they wrestle.
Yeah.
It just, that star power is definitely a standout for me.
For sure. I know exactly what you mean. But, definitely some good moments to think of, and I'm sure those are going to be the ones that we think of in the future.
Yeah, and of course, Shelton Benjamin with his Ed Hardy get up.
Yeah. Shout out to that.
Just kidding. It's not a moment.
But, so my moments, I kind of have, I don't know, more than I should every time, but I've got my memorable stuff, and then I've kind of got my honorable mentions. Nice. I want to give an honorable mention to what you said, to not take away from it, but it's just, I think my other moments meant more to me. Mm-hmm. But the closing the show with the fire. Okay. That's definitely something that I can't go without saying.
Yeah.
It's in there kind of as my 4 or 5, honorable mention. Like you talked enough about that. I don't really need to get into it. But number 3 I had as the mixed tag.
Okay, yeah.
The IC women's, kind of remembering that this was the first time they had done that. Probably the last time, I think we said. I don't think it's been happened again. And I if you listened to the show earlier, you heard my thoughts on how this was very different and cool to see. And I'd like to see it again, maybe in the future. Just more the different factor and the fact that it hadn't happened before. Number 2 had to be the bumps in the main event.
Oh, yeah.
Just all the headshots that Edge and Undertaker were taking. I'm definitely going to remember those headshots.
Yeah.
They were significant, and I don't know. Again, you talked a lot about that. A lot of our memorable moments tonight were very similar, but that's kind of, there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. If they're memorable moments, they're usually going to be memorable to more than one person. So the last one I had to put, this was kind of just for me, the fact that it was the first time I had saw this match, but Cena and Batista.
That's crazy too.
I got to be honest, I never saw this. I
first time they fought each other, the first time I'm seeing it. Like I said, I wish I saw it when I was still on the cusp of watching wrestling in 2008, because I was pretty much out of it at that point. And like you said, again, just the star power. I had wrote in the notes power, and then I changed that to star power, because not only did they show power in the moves they did, but these are fucking big stars, and even more bigger now in 2018.
For sure.
So those are definitely, my memorable moments, and we're going to keep doing that. That's definitely something that's not going away on the show. But, yeah, I know you had a little something that you wanted to get into for the fans, the listeners.
Shout out to everybody listening, anyone who continues to listen, or any new listeners.
Yeah.
I just want to say, we do definitely bring, not to toot our own fucking horn, but we just bring something different. And, anybody who is listening, I'm sure they get it. I just feel like we bring a whole different outlook to the wrestling podcast world.
For sure, man. And there's, with the amount of wrestling podcasts that are out there, I think, I'm happy to keep doing this show. I enjoy doing this show, and looking back at old shows, and I'm starting to say show too much again, but looking back at old shows is always fun, because, like I've said a million times, I didn't watch a lot. I kind of watched for a hardcore short period of time in 04 to 07, and then back now. In current, I would say I know a lot, but it's fun for me to look back, and I know what you mean.
Yeah.
People definitely get a different look of pro wrestling with us talking about it being hardcore, and, not knowing as much, being somewhat of an outsider at some times for myself. It's fun to do.
Oh yeah.
And I want to keep.
I enjoy even just matches you haven't seen, getting that reaction too from you. It's sick.
Absolutely, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're not just fucking everyone else out there. And match 1, dive, flip, ABC 1, 2, 3. No, we get into detail.
We don't just give you what just happened in the match. We give you our opinions And yeah, man, it's been fun, so don't forget to check us out, like I always say, at the Pro Wrestling LookBack, at PW LookBack. Don't forget to check us out there. Got a little different music.
Nice. Shout out to the band.
Yeah.
That's why we did that.
Shout them out. Killswitch Engaged. We figured we'd give them a little bit of a shout out before we go into the close. But like I said, at PW LookBack on Instagram and Twitter. They're both on there. Pro Wrestling LookBack on YouTube. Pro Wrestling LookBack on Facebook. ProWrestlingLookBack.wordpress.com is the website that has all the videos. Check all that stuff out there. Email ProWrestlingLookBack@gmail.com. That's a lot of Pro Wrestling Lookbacks, Donovan.
It's a lot.
I hope everybody got it. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. I'm Nick. I'm sitting here with
Don Perignon. Stay classy, everyone.